has been a long waiting for the start of the 52 Super Series 2021, but it's going to be well worth the wait. We've got 16 boats here, the biggest fleet for many, many years, lined up here in Puerto on the island of Mallorca for the Puerto 52 Super Series Sailing Week and the 20th Anniversary Invitational. We've got 9 top-level boats racing in the 52 Super Series and 7 boats here for the Invitational. What's new this season is Terry Hutchison's back on the Quantum Racing with Lucas Calabrese as a new young Argentinian strategist, and Vasco Vascotto is back joining the Brunner-Nesek team.
It's very exciting because there is plenty of friends and plenty of enemy. We'll have a nice battle in the water.
It's fantastic being back on the water. Great. The friends and the ambient at the regattas is what I miss the most.
Oh, it's great to be back.
After 18 months or 16 months, nice, good. I've been right now the 5th or 6th time on the boat this year. In the beginning it feels a little bit rusty, but right now it's okay.
After almost 2 years, we are all happy. Doesn't matter, just to go to sail, that is a goal.
And after a 5-year gap, Interlodge are back with the 52 Super Series with the boat which was formerly Azura, a super well-sorted boat, and Austin and Gwen Fragaman looking to have a great season.
Oh, it feels great to be back. We have no illusions that we have a tough competition out here, so we want to hang in there with the front of the fleet if we can. This is a very exciting venue to race in, so I'm delighted.
Well, it's time to dust off the rust, rekindle the rivalries and go in the water, and let's go racing. Well, indeed, let's go racing. It's looking like a great day on the water here from Puerto Portals on the Bay of Palma. It was a nice, hot, sticky morning, and in Palma that always means a strong sea breeze. We're expecting up to 15 knots perhaps in the afternoon, and that's just perfect because today is the day of the 20th Anniversary Invitational. We've got 16 boats on the line, 7 invited boats going back all the way to 2005 and all the way forwards to 2017. A little bit, it's about bragging rights today, perhaps you could say that. The 52 Super Series competition is set aside for one day, and it's all about enjoying the atmosphere, celebrating the longevity and the excitement of the TP52 class. But let's look first of all at yesterday's racing. Yesterday we had 3 races back to back, a long hot day on the water. Let's look at the racing. First race of the day, well, the Seabreeze is still quite unsettled. Allegri make the best start. Phoenix and Interlodge are both over the line and have to recross. At the top mark, it's Allegri who are best. Platoon and Provezza, well, it's pretty messy for them. They get closed out and have to do turns and miss the mark. Sled gain on the first run, going down the right of the run and get through to lead. And it's a win for Sled. Super close finish between Berenice, Phoenix and Provezza on the line. Race 2, well, it's the pin end start, won by Phoenix this time. They jump up the left side and are first at the windward mark. Provezza and Quantum this time have to take turns and are out of the windward mark. Upwind, Phoenix hold off Sled, and at the finish it's Phoenix who wins. Sled second, Interlodge stealing third on the finish line. Race 3, well, this time it's Provezza starting off the pin end of the line, get up the left early and lead at the top mark. Phoenix make a good start too in the mix. Provezza win then with a good comeback by Platoon, who get second place on the finish line.
Come off the start line at the pin end there, go in the direction that we wanted to go, and boat going well and a little bit more breeze in that last race today, and managed to get around the top mark in good shape and extend nicely. Every race is a game of millimetres with it's a full-on fight out there. It's fantastic racing. Can't beat it.
No, we're really enjoying the racing. We haven't done any for so long, and coming back to us, we were a little rusty on the first day, and yeah, it's great.
Standings after 6 races, Sled leading by 1 point, 22 points for Sled. Quantum Racing second on 23, Phoenix on 26, Provezza on 27 and Allegra also on 27 in 5th place. And then the TP52 20th Anniversary Invitational Regatta. First is Beaugest at the moment with 5 wins from 5 races. Second, THA 72, the Thai boat, who are on 15 points. They're 2 points clear of Ares Blue, who are third on 17 points.
We haven't lost the race yet, which is really happy about. And obviously we were very happy and excited that we won the practice race. And we just hope we can go into tomorrow and do the same.
A long but productive day on the Bay of Palma with 3 different winners from 3 races. Top of the table, well, it's Sled just holding on from Quantum Racing. Now, tomorrow we've got 16 boats racing for the Invitational, celebrating 20 years of the TP52 class. Meantime, boat of the day, Phoenix. Don't forget to follow all the action live streamed from the water on all the 52 Super Series channels. Well, indeed, looking at the standings then on the 52 Super Series, as we said, Sled leading by just a single point from the Quantum Racing. Sled super consistent, really, all in all, but that 7th yesterday. Quantum Racing started really well with a 2-1-2, then 6-7-5, so they need to get back in the winning ways. Phoenix in 3rd, Provezza 4th, Allegra 5th, Platoon 6th, Berenice 7th, Interlodge 8th, and Gladiator in 9th place at the moment. So we're in the studio. We're joined in the studio by none other than Guillermo Parada, the current 52 Super Series champion. How are you?
Very well. Here we are, enjoying the summer, Andy.
Indeed. And what's it like to be back in Puerto, such a special place for the 52 class?
It's a very representative place for the class for sure, and so far it's delivering the conditions we were expecting from Palma. So southwest from 12-14 knots, and that's also on the menu for today. So looking forward for the race with 16 boats. It's going to be quite a big event today, looking at that fleet.
What are your special memories of this place, personally?
Well, my personal life has been very linked to Palma and to Portals for many years, since I was sailing in the dinghies, Princesa Sofia's in the 90s. So those were one of my majors. Or the first important wins of my career. Then my father died when I was in Palma also, so we were able to win a couple of Copa del Rey. We won a World Championship here with Azurra a couple of years ago, so for sure it's one of those places where I always like to come back, and I meet with a lot of friends and enjoy my time, really.
Fantastic. What about this fleet then? 16 boats today. What do you think we are going to see?
Well, it is really unbelievable and like a dream come true to look at this fleet today. I think it was a fantastic idea by Rob and then by the Super Series that follow it and bring all those machines together. It's it's going to be tough. We have one of the latest generations of the Invitational boats that is very optimized for IRC, has more power, more sails, has a very good crew on board. So I'm almost sure it's going to be very competitive, and at the same time the Super Series boats that they are going to be willing to demonstrate that they are more trained, more prepared. So it's going to be a very nice battle on the water, I expect.
Everybody's pretty much out to win, though, aren't they?
Yeah,
I think. But we spoke with quite a number of the different, in particular the invited teams. We went down the dock, and this is what we had to say in the early afternoon. What do you think your chances are today? What have you got to do to win?
No, today I feel we are not really going to win, but the main idea is to keep improving. And today it's a special day because we will sail all together between the boat from the Super Series and the IRC boat. So for us, it's a big pleasure to be part of this team, this kind of regatta. It's awesome.
Perfect.
We, of course, try to win, as always.
No, maybe no. Our objectives is do all maneuvers in conditions, and our tactician is a very good job. From yesterday's very good job, and no, maybe first no, for sure.
I'd say we're confident if it's a little bit lighter, but as the breeze kicks in, the class boats probably have an advantage upwind at least.
Trying not to be the last one.
We'll try to do our best and we'll see what's going on.
I hope the wind is a good condition for have a nice sailing.
So, Guijue, a lot of happy faces on the dock. Some guys out there to have a good time today. What can the invited boats hope to do today?
I think that it's a good opportunity for them to measure up against the top of the fleet, and for some of them, as I said before, wanted to demonstrate that they've done a good job in optimizing the boats. For the other ones, probably trying to measure how far away they are and maybe considering joining the 52 Super Series fleet for the future. There's a couple of good crews there over. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be a very interesting day with 2 races scheduled for today and with the trophy online for the best performer of the day. So I'm looking forward to it. The forecast is for 12 to 16 knots. So good conditions over there, and it's all set for having a great day on the water.
But the key thing for the older boats, what's the key thing for them in terms of their strategy?
For some of the Invitational boats, I think it's going to be to try to stay out of trouble with the Super Series boats that probably they are going to be fighting each other a little bit. For Bojes, probably trying to beat the Super Series boats. For the other ones, probably try to be mixed and trying to have a good result. But it's a tough fleet for sure. The bay is demonstrated to be tricky, and today it's going to be no exception. So whoever who has a clean start and has good speed and stay out of trouble has a good chance of being leading the fleet.
You talk about staying out of trouble, but this is a 16-boat fleet. It's very, very different to everyday racing in the 52 Super Series. So tell me about staying out of trouble.
Well, it's been a long time since we don't see...
Exactly. I think that's the interesting point,
this amount of boats. I remember one Brailing Cup here in 2000
24 boats or something.
I think we had 25 boats. So for sure the start is going to be a bit more important than normal. So whoever is able to sneak their bow in front of the other ones and sail for the very first 4 or 5 minutes with clean air will make a bigger difference today than in any other day that you can probably make 2 tacks and find your way out of trouble. But today it's going to be very, very important to have a clean start and obviously head to the proper side of the course.
And the proper side today?
Yeah, again, it's one of those days that the true forecast is 215 to 235. In Palma, normally when you have 200 to the left is normally very strong. When you have 215 to 20 to the right can be strong. So it's right just in the middle. But if I have to say something today, I like the right.
Gigi likes to write. Anybody watching, anybody listening still out there waiting for the start?
I said it. Even before the start, I already choose the side.
Anyway, we had a couple of experts talking about the weather on the water. This was them earlier before they went afloat. Francesco Mongelli, tell us about the day. What are we looking for sea breeze today?
It's going to be, I think, one of the best sailing day, looking at the breeze. A nice sea breeze coming, a little bit west-oriented, so is a bit mixed in that sailing area. So I think will be very funny today.
So, Adam, a hot morning is looking pretty good for wind.
Yeah, it was very hot this morning, hopping out on the road bikes this morning at 6:30. It was a bit of a hard one to deal with going up the hills, but it's going to influence a good sea breeze later on this afternoon. We should have anywhere from 13 to 17 knots later in the day, so it's a typical Palmer day out there, and 17 boats on the, I believe, on the racetrack. It's going to make it very interesting and exciting, and hopefully a lot of fun for all.
Indeed, we're expecting a lot of fun for all. We seem to be setting up to pretty much go on time. Just to repeat, this is a day for two races. They're not part of the 52 Super Series. This is all about celebrating the history of the class and really just seeing who comes out on top. So, Guige, tell me about your little bit about your history in the class. You started 2005, 2006?
Well, I was still living in Valencia for the Cup when I was invited by an Irish team.
Oh yeah, with Patches.
Patches, right. Who was sponsored by them by a German company. So I joined it with them as a coach in the first event in Alicante, and then I jumped as a tactician for Bridling and Copa del Rey, where we were lucky enough to win it. That was 2006. Then on 2007, the Roemers family decided to build their first TP52, the first Matador. So since then, we've never missed a single race until this week.
Today.
Until this week.
I mean, that must be tough for you. It must be hard.
Yeah, for sure. It is hard. It's been 14 consecutive seasons that I've been racing this boat. So, but I'm very linked to the fleet, to the people. So I'm very happy to see the fleet strong and healthy. I'm looking forward to coming back into one of these teams in the near future.
Go on.
I don't know. Maybe,
available.
Maybe no, but maybe even in a new team together also.
Really?
Who knows? We are working on some different options, and hopefully we'll have something to tell you soon.
Good. I look forward to that, Guige. But meantime, we're saying part of the strategy, such as it is, of this event is to try and encourage teams to come in, some of the invited teams, and they seem to be talking the right talk. We've got a couple of teams who may join us indeed in Menorca. We're looking at probably the new Thai boat and possibly one of the others.
Yeah, I heard that the Thai is thinking about joining the Super Series. Same is Xio Huracan, which is thinking about coming to the Worlds. So all in all, I think it is a good idea to have us all together. Today's trophy is going to be interesting, not only for that, but also these people have the chance to have a taste for the circuit, the format, and how everything is organized. I think it's very different to a, let's say, standard regatta, where here it's everything. We have our own race committee, our own judges, the container places, all the media, the chase boats, everything is so organized that it's very, very enjoyable to be sailing this circuit, and whoever is able to realize that, for sure he will be willing to join. Obviously, you need to have the team, the money, the boat, many things that need to be put together to make a competitive team, but I'm sure that everybody who has the possibility will consider it.
Thanks, Guige. We're going to go with Tor Tomlinson on the water. We know the sea breeze is in. We can feel it here on land in Puerto Portals. But it looks brilliant. How are things out there, Tor?
Hi, Andy. Yes, it's great out here. I just saw Maria doing a little dance on the top of the committee boat. She's the race officer. She's very, very happy with the conditions out here. We're just about 2.5 minutes to the start. It's come in strong, about 15-16 knots from the southwest. The start line's buzzing. It's great to see 16 boats out here, and I'm excited to see who's going to come out on top.
So Maria was doing the "We've Got Wind" dance as opposed to the "We Need Wind" dance. But yeah, what do you think the kind of strategy is in this big fleet on this start line? Presumably the line is a little bit longer than usual.
Yes, line's a bit longer than usual. I think, as you were just saying, just staying clean here is what it's all about. There's 16 boats, quite a few more than the Super Series fleet have been dealing with, and the Invitational, so almost double for both of them. But it's going to be, getting a clean start, holding onto your lane, and picking which side of the course you want to go up. Again, just like yesterday, I like the right, but there could be some nice shifts up on the left as well. But it looks to be strong from the right. It's coming from 225. So, yeah, you heard it here first.
Well, you didn't really, because Guichet just said
No,
that as well. But anyway, 2-0 at the moment for the right. The majority vote is to go up to the right. But Guichet, what are you seeing in the water there when we look at the start line?
For sure, it's only 1 minute to go, and the fleet is very spread around the line. So I'm sure Maria did a bigger starting line today to allow for space for everybody to fill in. But nobody's fighting hard for the pin, so that's a big sign that the left is not as strong as normal. But I would say that nobody's fighting really hard for the committee neither. So it looks like the options are open, and everybody is trying to be conservative and not trying to play the race from the beginning. 25 seconds to the gun now.
So you do the start for us, Guichet. What you see?
Okay, so we see, as I said, the fleet was pretty spread, only 15 seconds to go. At this moment, you normally need to put your bow down and pull the trigger. That's normally what it takes for the boats to get to targets. Serafini a little bit squeezed by the leeward boat now, so they cannot accelerate. They were going to be slow at the line, but the best starters were probably next to the pin. They were closer to the line, so I thinking that maybe a left shift came at the very last moment, and the fleet was a little late on the committee.
That looks like it. We've just got the tracker there as well, but I think we've got a clean start by the sounds of things. Tor, how's it looking where you are? I'm there.
Yeah, I agree with that. There is definitely a left shift going into the start there. There's a couple of boats struggling to make the pin, and I think someone was over. I can't confirm who it was, but there's a boat going back. I'll let you know as soon as I can see them.
But certainly the left side looking good now. Provezza is our early leader provisionally. Remember, they started well off the pin. Guichet.
Yeah, I think that Provezza was over. They were too far ahead, and now they were stopping. So we don't have the confirmation from the water, but I will think that they are over or they had a problem. So effectively, there's a boat coming back, so probably that's Provezza having to restart.
Not sure that they are, but otherwise, good start for Interlodge and Sled. I think both out on that left side. Interlodge had a pretty decent day yesterday.
Yeah, and effectively Provezza is coming down. That's going to be a big loss for them, and now we see one of the Invitational boats also.
Tony Gio
also coming back. So it's in between Sled and Interlodge. The trackers are not very accurate at the moment, but Sled, Interlodge, Platoon, and Alegre, they are all in the leading pack. Now the fleet, as we said, is heading to the right. Probably a little bit of banana ride. We say that the leeward boats get a lift in front of the windward boats, so that's a geographical feature of this Bay of Palma with this wind direction. So I expect Quantum to be gaining from the fleet in these conditions in the next couple minutes.
So we're on board, we're looking at zero emissions and the Finnish boat, their first time ever here, racing in the Super Series, and this big fleet did Copa del Rey, had a technical problem there unfortunately, and in fact they had an injury on the first day. Second day they had a problem with their mast, but they really are having a great week, enjoying the racing, and presently lying in 11th place. It looks like a technical problem for the Phoenix coming back in, or not sure what that is, but as you said, Guiche, I think looking at the tracker, I think Quantum going quite well, pretty much in the middle of the course, probably certainly in the top 3 early on. What are we trying to do at this stage in the race, Guiche?
You obviously you want to be heading to the direction your strategy is, but also you need to make sure that you are going BMG 100% performance and trying to let the boat do its job. I mean, trying to minimize tacks and make sure you put yourself in a position where you can do what you want in terms of going fast and low or going high and slow or just BMGs. Right now, the boats from the left seems to be leading the fleet. It's nice to me, obviously, to see Interlodge, our ex-boat, leading momentarily, but it's very close. It's very close in between the 3 American boats. Unbelievable.
Platoon in the mix. 2 Platoon a little bit up and down a few races, but starting to come good again yesterday. Stealing a 3rd, I think, in the last race yesterday.
Yeah, you can never count them out because no matter sometimes you feel that they are having a terrible day, but they are always able to come back. They have a very consistent crew, and the boat is also fast. So when you have the chance, you need to make sure you hammer them and make the most out of the situation because it will come back. It will come back no matter what. It will come back.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, big picture is a great sight. Seeing all these boats racing upwind in this first beat in the Invitational Challenge today. Just to repeat, this is not a points race for the 52 Super Series. This is just about the day, enjoying the size of the fleet, enjoying racing in perfect sea breeze conditions on the Bay of Palma.
And so far, it looks like the boats on the left are hanging in there. I mean, Interlodge led, they are still showing a lefty up the course on the higher part of our screen, and Quantum, as we said, is taking the more conservative approach in the middle of the fleet. The whole fleet is heading to the right, so looks like our predictions are working at least. Nobody's going
hard left
with this direction. Bronenosek is now probably the most left boat, but not because of they want it, but because they had no option to sail with clear air to the right. So far, Interlodge on the far left, and then Sled very close to them, leading the fleet, and the rest of them, Platoon, Alegre, and Quantum, also heading right. I cannot see Vosges. I don't know, Andy, if you were able to saw it, but looks like they are very far behind. Probably they were over early, so that's a very big missed opportunity for them to compare against the Super Series fleet.
So just briefly, the Beaugest is not a class TP52. It's actually a little bit quicker with a deeper keel and a more powerful rig, as we understand.
Yeah, they have like almost 1 more meter of rig. I mean, it's 80 centimeters, more sail area, a little deeper keel.
40 centimeter deeper keel, I believe.
Yeah, for a bigger riding moment for the same weight. So in theory, it's a much more powerful package than the Super Series boats. Obviously, on IRC they pay a penalty on rating on that, but they seem to be convinced that the penalty is worse because the speed that they are extracting from the boat is bigger than the time penalty that they pay. And now they had the very, very good opportunity to measure up against the Super Series boats. Unfortunately, they didn't have quite the start they were expecting. They were expecting maybe they took too much risk, and now they are paying the price. We'll see if they are able to come back, but so far they are too far behind to have a real chance.
So it looks to be between Quantum Racing, Interlodge and Sled. Tor, what are you seeing?
I was just looking back there. I don't know if you've heard, but Phoenix have pulled out of the race. I just heard Cameron Dunn on the radio saying that they had a slight issue, nobody hurt, and they're heading back to the start line. And I've also just seen Beaugest lowering their sails as well, so I'm not sure what happened there, but that's Beaugest and Phoenix out of this race. We're on the right with Quantum looking strong, and a few of the Invitational boats over here as well. So it's cool seeing them all together, and they're holding on to the boats at the moment, and I'm looking forward to seeing the top mark. It's been a busy starboard ley line, so I don't think there'll be much gaps for people coming in from the left-hand side of the course.
But we do seem to think that Quantum are leading. Guichet, not a surprise there, really.
No, I think what we said before the start is starting to happening. I mean, the boats further to the right are getting the geographical lift in front of the airboat. So the last 2-3 minutes before getting to the starboard ley line, it's where the gains are going to be bigger, I expect. So Quantum is slowly starting to get the advantage that we were expecting at the beginning. So we'll see if the last puff.
So they're lifting just now. Do they then pay the price with a knock on starboard on the starboard tack ley line, or what's the strategy there?
I think that you want to get as much banana, we said, as we want, because that's a geographical lift that you have. I mean, you are like 2 or 3 degrees more lifted than, in this case, at Alegre, or the boats on your hip because of the direction of the shore. So you want to get as much as you can from the banana of the race course, and once you are getting very close to the lane line, if you know that you are crossing or you are strong against your competition,
you go across.
Then you go across. So I expect the gains to be made in the last 2 minutes before the lane line, which we should be getting close to that. I'm not expecting to be more than 2 minutes to Quantum to be on starboard tack.
So we're just having a quick look at the tracking, the 3D tracking our system, to just evaluate our position just now. Yeah, pretty much as you're saying, Guichet, Quantum just working out towards the starboard tack ley line, and as you said, Terry obviously listening to the broadcasters have just tacked. Gladiator have gone as well. On this side, nice to see Gladiator up in the mix.
For sure, they've been having a tough week so far, not only by sailing, but also some mechanical issues with the drop line. We saw a couple of untidy maneuvers from them, which is weird because they are a team with a lot of experience in the class, but sometimes these kind of things happen, especially after 1.5 seasons that the boats are not being raced. So now it's the time where the positions are going consolidated, and as we're expecting, the boats from the right are leading the pack.
It's an interesting point that because the boats have not been sailed, then you do get these little mechanical issues that can be very, very well maintained. But it's really the competition that exposes any weaknesses, and you've had a little bit of that. Similarly, with a few little mistakes on the start line and the mark roundings. But this fleet is really coming on the boil.
Yeah, no matter how hard you train or how realistic you try to do your training, there's nothing like racing, where you normally have to make unusual maneuvers, unusual decisions, unusual use of the things, or even the adrenaline pumping on the racing makes you make some mistakes that whenever the boat is not 100% proven or serviced, then it's harder, and that's where the mistakes happening. Alegre is sneaking their nose ahead of Gladiator on top of them, and expecting them to be second by the time they get to the windward mark. Interloch is still ahead of them on the rankings, but Alegre has the starboard tack advantage. They have the right of way, and I doubt that the Interloch will be able to tack and cross ahead of them by the time they get to the starboard lane. And still, Alegre needs to make sure that they get rid of interlocks, that they are preventing them to tack also. So it's a couple of minutes since they tack, and we still need a little more time to the positions to be consolidated. The only one that is, in my opinion, clear or ahead is Quantum. That's at the moment by the leaderboard it's been shown second behind Interlodge, but I think that they have an advantage.
Yeah, they're up closer to the starboard tack ley line.
Yeah.
And Gladiator not too badly off either, but interesting you were just saying about the best kind of preparation is in competition. Interesting to note that Alegre, as I said, did Copa del Rey racing in a reasonably competitive fleet, but it's that thing where you do 6 days of racing back to back. It's pretty good preparation for coming into this, isn't it?
I think that Alegre is one of the boats that has put more time on the water before the beginning of the season. They made 2 training sessions plus Copa del Rey. I was lucky enough to be invited by them to do their first training session, and my proposal to them when I joined them for that week was to try to make the training as realistic as possible. I mean, in terms of sailing out of the comfort zone, not sailing BMG, sailing out of targets, do tough maneuvers, I mean, you don't need to train the normal perfect maneuvers. You need to put yourself in
difficult
bad situations. Yeah, two lengths under ley line. I mean, making sure you need to force a drop to the very last moment to gain an overlap, whatever it is. And I think it was a very productive week for them, and I felt like we improved a lot during the week. So now Andy has taken a break, so I think that Edo Steady his tactician is steering to the boat today, and so far he's doing a good job.
But as you said, Quantum taking over our leaderboard. Alegre second, Gladiator in third. A few words about Tony Langley. He's such a character, but a great enthusiast for the class and loves his TP52s, Guige.
Yeah, I love Tony. I think he's a very important member of the class, and he's been with us for at least 10 seasons now. So I think we all have missed him when he was away from the racing due to personal issues a couple of years ago. But we are very, very happy to have him back on board the Super Series now for this season, and looking forward to share some more racing with him in the future.
And the odd gin and tonic.
Well, that for sure he beats me on that one.
And Jeff. But yeah, great to see them up in the top 4, top 5 just now. He's running a really British-orientated programme this year. Obviously a huge patriot in his own right, but it's also good in terms of logistics in these times. So just attacking. Great panorama there, Guige, with the city of Palma in the background.
Palma is always unbelievable. It's a place that, as I said at the beginning, that I not only love, but I think it's one of the most beautiful places in the world. If some stage I need to leave my country, which I also love, Palma will be my first choice, no matter what, and my family also agrees. I mean, my wife and kids, they love the island, and they are always eager to come back whenever they have the chance. Luckily enough, now they were able to go back to school after one year with the pandemic, but whenever we have the chance to fly freely, let's say, we'll come back to Palma as soon as we can.
So, Tor, how's it looking at this, getting up towards this windward mark?
It's looking very tight, Andy. I was just watching there where Allegra just did a little leap out on Gladiator. Gladiator just had to tack out, and they had to duck just behind Platoon and then cross just in front of Sled. So they look to be on the ley line, potentially with Sled as well. But we've got a lot of boats coming in from the left-hand side of the course, so it's going to be a very, very busy ley line.
Indeed, but Quantum looking pretty strong there, Guige.
Yeah, Quantum was holding the right. They had the right of weight, and they were in a good position to dominate the fleet. As we know, Terry is very good at positioning his boat, always to be able to make gains no matter what happens, and he did that again this time. Alegre, as we said, they were controlling Interlodge, and they are coming now in second, ahead of Platoon and the bunch of guys approaching from the right. Interlodge will have a tough approach with a lot of boats on starboard tack. They will have to pick up a good place to tack, and probably they will have to be behind those couple of boats, and from there they will need to fight to make the mark, because they are going to be a little bit in dirty wind, but I think that they will be able to make it.
So Quantum round first, Alegre round in second.
And it's a tie in between Platoon and Sled. They are virtually tied. Interlodge, as we said, is the next one.
Just fighting, struggling to get to the mark a little bit.
Struggling to make the mark, but they, as we say, they made it. Then it's Bronenosek and Tony Langley on the Gladiator. So far, we can say that most of the Super Series boats are in front. Looks like Alegre has either a penalty or a gear failure, but for some reason they are stopped head to wind, and they are trying to fix something. I don't know if in the water we can have an idea of what happened. Probably they are making a penalty, but the kite was ready to hoist, so for sure they have something else going on.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like a problem with on board the Alegre. One or two mechanical problems and issues on this race. We're looking now at, I think that's a Ares Blue, isn't it? Italian boat.
Yep, effectively, and we can see on the leaderboard that Zio is the first invitational boat in the ranking at the moment, in the 8th place. Probably they will become 7th once Alegre finish their penalty or fix whatever the problem they have. But so far the Super Series fleet is in control of the race. Bad hoist, unfortunately for Interlodge. They have a twist in their spinnaker, in between the spinnaker and the jib. They made the Sandokan, which is where you jibe during the hoist. And when in those maneuvers, you need to make sure that you over trim the jib, so the top of the jib with the full buttons don't get twisted in the spinnaker, which is exactly what happened here. So probably they will have to drop both sails before they can fix it and go sailing again. So very, very bad maneuver for Interlodge, unfortunately.
So Tor, did you see what happened with Alegre, perhaps?
There was lots of buzz around us. I didn't see exactly what happened, but I think that they were doing a penalty and had already started to hoist their spinnaker, so had to drop it and, slowed right down, and then had to wait for some other boats to get out of the way to complete their turn. That's what I think happened there. But it's a very, very busy top mark rounding and quite a few issues. I'm just watching Interlodge dropping their spinnaker down, as Guille just said, trying to fix their issue. But yeah, there's a little bit more breeze today, and obviously people are just making a few little errors.
So looking like Interlodge doing turns as well, Guille.
Yeah, I think that they had a penalty for jibing too close to Bronenosek, that they were to leeward of them, and they executed the maneuver better than them. So now they are having to hoist their spinnaker to windward, which is not a very tidy maneuver. So they are still in trouble. As we said, once you get that one bad, it's very hard, very, very hard to come back. So turns, dropping the kite, having to rehoist on the wrong side, and then have to go dead downwind to turn the spinnaker to the right, and then being able to come back. Now they should be able to bring it up and hopefully hoist. But they need to drop the jib as soon as possible in order to give free air to the kite to fill in. It's tough for me to see that sail number having a bad maneuver still touches me a lot, but we need to move on.
You did some work with them as well, did you?
Yeah, I was sailing with them in the training, trying to to help them with the handover of the boat and explaining how did we used to sail the boat and rig setup, maneuver-wise, and all the systems that the boat has. So I think that we had four very good days. The boat was going well, and I think that the boat demonstrated that whenever it's been put in good positions, they are recovering and they are going forward. So I have to tell you that obviously I have my heart with that boat, but the boat is a very, very good and fast boat that gave us a lot of joy over the last years.
But today you're sporting Quantum.
Well, today I think that
you have an Argentinian on board now.
Yeah, for sure we have an Argentinian on board. A couple of boats. We have an Argentinian on Bronenosec. We have an Argentinian on Phoenix. We have a couple of Argentinians.
Tell us a little bit about Lucas then. What do you know?
Well, Lucas is a strategist on Quantum. He's new to the team. He's
a J70 sailor.
Yeah, but he used to be a 470 sailor. He won a bronze medal in
2012
in the Olympics in London, and then he didn't get the support from our country that he was looking for, so he decided to move to the States, and since then he established himself as one of the top, let's say, tacticians in J70s. He won a world championship, I think that it was three years ago, yes, and he just joined the Quantum team, and he's working with Terry and Michele. For sure, they will be a very, very strong team at the back of that boat, and so far they are doing a very good job. They started the regatta in a very solid way, and yesterday they struggled a little bit, but I'm sure that they are going to be among the title deciders by the end of the season. So
for sure,
they have a good team, they have a fast boat, they have the resources, so they have everything you need in the cocktail to be winning. So, and that's what they're doing. They are delivering.
Tell me a little bit about Sled, because Sled won, remember, in Puerto Cervo in the end of 2019, and they were just a little speed edge. And we've seen moments of that for sure here. What do you think they've got in terms of the way they have the boat set up?
Well, in Puerto Cervo 2019 was a big eye opener for most of the fleet, because they really put on a clinic on the whole fleet. They won, like, I think it was like more than 20 points. At that stage we were more focused on deciding the season. So we were fighting or keeping an eye on Quantum and Platoon. We were able to finish that regatta second and winning the season. So we did achieve our goal, but
they were fast there.
But we obviously noticed that they were fast. We made sure that we had a lot of information about them by the end of the season, and we ordered a new standing rigging for our boat just after Puerto Cervo in order to do what they were doing.
So what was it they were doing? Just
they were playing with the rig setup and the rake, for sure, in a way that we were not able, because we were limiting by the length of our rigging. So we changed our rigging. We tested in December, and we were happy with the changes, and we went to Cape Town last year confident in our boat speed and the changes that we made to the sails, and in the breeze we were quick enough to win the regatta in Cape Town. So we were very pleased and happy with what we learned. But obviously they were the first ones exploring that option. They had the fresher sails that regatta also, because they missed some racing cascais, so they have all the heavier stuff in much better shape than us. It was a little bit tired, but it was very good that they explored that possibility with the rig tune. That gave us the opportunity also to take a look at them and copy and develop from there. And I think that our boat made a big step, and we were last year ready, very, very ready for Cape Town, and it showed.
But in the meantime, Quantum then with a big lead over Platoon and Sled. Good to see Chio up there, Marco Serafini and the team. What do you know about them?
Well, they are racing on the 2012 quantum boat, so for sure the machine they got under them it's a good boat. In terms of systems and mechanics, they are not up to date with the new teams, but the boat has the ability to go quick, and also they have two Azzurra guys on them, so they have Giovanni Casinari on the main and Chicho Celon trimming also the headsail of the spinnaker with his son also on the boat. So that's a good team, and they are. If it wasn't for a D1 that they broke on the first day, they were for sure going to be fighting for the 2 first spots in the Invitational class. And now that Bojes is having a tough race, they are leading the Invitational class, and they are in the mix with the 52 Super Series boats. So I think that they are doing a good job. And whenever the breeze is not very strong, that boat is capable of fighting against the best ones. Quantum again is positioned in a place that they are able to take advantage of whatever can happen. So I expect them to be leading by a fair margin by the bottom mark. But the fight for the second position is going to be nice in between Platoon and Sled. Platoon obviously is to leeward and has the right of way, so they have an advantage in that terms. And as we said, Shio is chasing Gladiator and to lure them, so they are trying to prevent them to jive, sorry, and they are among the top of the fleet. We can see Sean Clarkson looking behind, Terry Hutchinson thinking about which mark to go. Kelly Baldi looking at the box, and Lucas also crossing the boat, talking to Terry about the next beat and discussing their options, while the rest of the speed team is still concentrated on making sure they go as quick as they can.
Quick word about Michele Avaldi. I mean, Italian, but he's super calm and collected, isn't he?
Yeah, he's married to an American, so he's not Italian anymore, I would say. but he's a talented and good sailor.
And he doubles between a strategist, tactician, and navigator.
He's one of the double role. He's a tactician navigator, so he can be very useful in many conditions, and because he knows which kind of information the tactician is willing to receive at any time, because he's thinking like a tactician with the knowledge and the information of a navigator. So for sure he has the potential to be very useful, and he's one of the only ones which is capable of having the double role.
So jibe on board Quantum.
Jib hoist looks like they are looking for the left mark, looking downwind, so the right mark on the course to head to the right. That's what it looks like. So they are having a comfortable lead, so I'm not expecting them to take any risk. They will drop with time enough to make a proper rounding, and probably they are changing the mark to the right, because Sean Clarkson was preparing the right runner. So yes, they are going to the right hand mark. So they are going to be exiting the gate, going a little bit to the left. Probably they saw some traffic coming on the starboard ley line with the kites, and they have a clearer lane if they go this way. But as you can see on the screen, the advantage they have is big enough so they can choose what they want and then judge where to position themselves when the second boat is on the beat. But they have a very, very big lead at the moment.
So who is this coming round the back? Did you see taking a couple of sterns to try and get on the inside boat?
Yeah, and looks like Gladiator has a chance if they are able to sneak their nose ahead of the windward boat they have. They may be able to to turn also in second, because Platoon looks like to be a little bit overstood from the right hand mark.
Yeah.
And then Gladiator can can win the bottom mark and heading to the right from this position. So good run by Gladiator that overtook a couple boats, and they are doing in this race what they were not able to do in the Super Series, unfortunately for them. But hopefully they will use this as a platform to build from here.
Confidence booster.
And then improving the Super Series as well. So Gladiator on the bottom, Platoon on top, CEO on top, Sled on the bottom, and Gazprom on top, following CEO. So that's the turning over of the race so far. More than a minute of advantage to Quantum Racing, which is enormous for only one lap. So they are for sure making a terrific job, but also they are going quick. That's no doubt about that. You cannot execute your strategy in this fleet if you don't have a quick horse underneath you. You need a quick horse. So you can have a good start, you can position yourself, but you need, whenever the conditions are even, you need to let the boat do the job for you. So that's something that these teams are working a lot of times. I mean, the higher the level on this fleet, the most important percentage of the race is defined before the start. So in order to be winning here, you need to have a lot of homework done even before arriving with your rig tune, boat preparation, systems, sails, shapes, I mean, maneuvers. There are many things that you need to make sure they are working properly in order to give you the chance to be competitive. And that's what Quantum obviously is showing to have been doing better than the rest of the fleet so far.
What about the two-boat program between them and Platoon then? I mean, that obviously advantages both.
Yeah, I think it's for their advantage, and also they have the ability to tune against the other designer boat. Obviously, yeah. Quantum is a Botin, Platoon is a Brolich. Each boat has their moment of that they shine against the other one. So it's very good if you can compete against the other one and measure how you are doing in the conditions when you're supposed to be quicker and on the other ones. That's why in the past with Azurra we had Provesa as our training partner also, so we were experiencing more or less the same situation as Quantum was doing with Platoon. The only difference is that as they were, I mean, sharing the sails, or they were also sharing the designs and what they were doing, while with Provesa everybody has their own designs. Obviously you need to make different sails and different setups for different boats, but with Provesa everybody was keeping their designs for themselves, while Quantum and Platoon, they are working more on open books. Yeah. And but that's a way of doing it, and they are happy so far because they are keep doing it. So looks like they feel that it's working the fair way.
But a good race up the second bit between Gladiator and the Platoon. Gladiator going well just now. Load of British talent at the back of the boat, and Giles Scott and Paul Goodison. You can see.
Yeah, for sure they have the boat stacked of talent and pretty good sailors. So they just need to be able to put it all together in a couple of races to be able to build from there, because I'm sure that they know how to do it, and they have enough people to make it happen. So I hope that they are able to put it together. Looks like the situation is it's a repeat of the first bit, where the banana, the right hand side starts to be paying in the second half of the bit. I mean, whenever you are approaching the right, I mean the west shore, which is the right hand part of our course, the banana start playing in the favor of the lure boats heading to the right, and it looks like Gladiator is slowly making gains on Platoon. They only need to make sure that they stay clear of the wind of Quantum, that they are, so far they are, but not for a big margin. But if they are able to do that, I think that they are in a good shape to be second at the top mark. So that will be a very, very good result for them, I think.
Look at a big picture, seeing Chio in 4th, 5th, 6th. It's going to be encouraging for them to come back and have a go at Super Series, eh?
Yeah, they are considering doing the Worlds for sure in Menorca.
But this race is, they're up there ahead of Sled, ahead of Brenneseg, ahead of Allegri.
Yeah,
they're in the mix. They know they can do it.
As I said, they have a boat that is quick enough in certain conditions. They have new sails. They have Giovanni, Chicho, and a couple of guys that are very good. The navigator, Mongeli. They have Carpinello also on the boat. So they have a good team, and I'm sure that if they have the motivation, if they find the motivation to come to Menorca, they can do a very good. They can do a very good job. I do not expect them, obviously, to be fighting for the win, but they can be probably in the middle of the table with the Super Series boats, which I think it's encouraging for them. And yesterday I had dinner with Marcos, who told me that he would like to get a newer boat and maybe coming back to the Super Series in the future. So we expect that to happen, and we will always welcome them back.
Indeed. So, Tor, what are you seeing in the water just now? We're looking at Platoon going upwind. Maybe the pressure slightly dropped momentarily, but conditions still great. Perfect Bay of Palma.
Yes, it's perfect conditions out here. The right-hand side of the course is looking strong again, and we're just over on the right-hand side near Gladiator and Quantum, and they look to be lifting up this side a little bit with most of the fleet heading out this way. I think Quantum picked their mark. It was a little bit more upwind from the other and did a lovely mark rounding, went up to the left for a little bit and then tacked over to come for the right. So they obviously very clearly wanted the right for this beat again. It's really nice to see Chio and there is Blue up here in the mix with all the Super Series boats, but also just showing you how costly small mistakes are with Interlodge and Allegra not doing so well at the back of the pack.
Indeed, both making mistakes and dropping down the fleet. It's tough for them, but fortunately it's not a Super Series race. It's one to debrief why the mistakes happened, but there's not points on the table just now. But also, Tor, good to see the Gladiator doing a little bit better.
Yes, definitely. It's really nice to see them up there. They've been sailing hard, making a few mistakes here and there, but I think it's really been time on the water that's been needed for them. I know they did Cows Week a few weeks ago, but that's definitely not the same as this tight windward lured racing that they're doing here. So I'm sure they'll be glad that they're up there in second, but probably equally sad that it's not a Super Series race.
Indeed, but seem to be doing the business against Platoon, Guichet.
I think that the coastline is starting to do its job, and at least on the tracker is showing like more than 150 meters in favor of Gladiator against Platoon. Let's remember that they rounded the bottom marks at the same time. Gladiator the bottom one, Platoon the top one. So in terms of timing, they should be pretty close, and most of the difference we are watching is from this bend that we have along the coastline that gives an advantage to the boats which are placed to the right in this case, and Gladiator is taking full advantage of the situation. So I'm glad to see Tony and his crew fighting for the top spots again. I'm sure it's going to be a good booster for them for the remainder of the week. And if I don't make a mistake,
Dutch guy at the back, isn't it? That's unusual. The first time in I think a long time that we've ever seen Rob Wheeland on the water. But he'll be telling them what to do and how to do it in the old days the old days of IOR bloopers and everything he'll be saying.
For sure, he won't be quiet.
Let's watch how quickly he gets across the boat. He's going to get his feet in the water in a minute.
I'm very, very glad to see Rob on one of the boats, and especially a boat, fighting in the top spots. I'm sure he will be enjoying the situation a lot. So
he's a lucky mascot today for sure. He said he's the only team member on board from outside the EU, or in the EU. Everybody else is outside the EU now. So, but he never goes in the water. But I'm absolutely sure he'll be loving this race.
So we see now both Quantum and Gladiator tack on starboard tack. I expect them to be close to the lane line. Platoon didn't have a place to tack over there, so they have decided to tack underneath and parallel to them. So Gladiator now controlling the situation against the German boat in a pretty good way, and there's approach in between Platoon and Serafini, which Platoon with the right of way, but I expect Serafini is going to tack to lure and then try to work the lure position from there to the top mark. So
great shots though, isn't it? Just watching the tack from Chio. Now, what did Chio have to do? What did Platoon have to do in this situation, Guichet?
Obviously, Platoon needs to try to hold out that situation, that position. It depends how much separation they have and how the boats are positioned after both boats are up to speed. But in normal conditions, Serafini should be able to squeeze them in the 4 or 5 minutes they have in this starboard tack to the lane line. So if they have the speed and they are even in speed, I expect Serafini to have a chance to get into Platoon. Platoon, they are bow forward, they are in a controlling position, but there's a very long tack, and if Serafini can use that into their advantage, they might be able to make them tack, and then immediately they will have to tack back to Puerto to control them up to the top mark. So it's an interesting battle for third place. It's good to see Gladiator consolidating their position, and Quantum so far it's on their own league, right? They are on another race.
Indeed, they're going to have their lunch finished by the time Gladiator get down across the finish line. But all credit to Gladiator team at the moment in second. But it's a great race, really. I think this first of our 2 invitational races delivering all that we hope for, with the exception of, unfortunately, with the technical issues with Beaugest and Phoenix, who had to pull out not long after the start line. Because for sure I think that the Beaugest team were looking forward to this race, lining up against the 52s, but now looking at Allegre up against the sled. They're such rivals regularly, aren't they, Guichet?
Yeah, they are rivals and training partners, so for sure it's a strange thing, because when you have a training partner, it's for helping each other, but at the same time you know each other so much that you want to beat them. You obviously want to beat all of them, but whenever you are close, you know where you should expect to have an advantage against them, so you want to beat them. But coming back to your reflection, it's lucky that Beaugest has another chance today. I'm sure that both Gavin Brady, Kenny Reid are going to be looking forward to that and making sure that they have a real start, that they can be in a position to fight for the race later on, because today they took too many risks. They were called early. They had to come back, and the race was over before it started almost. So unfortunately, they didn't have the chance. But now we have the battle in between Platoon and CEO. They are very, very even. Quantum is enjoying their lead of more than 300 meters, but the Gladiator is also in a, let's say, in a easy controlling position now, and the heat is in between Platoon and CEO.
And then Brunello, unfortunately, a little bit further back in 5th. Yeah, what's your evaluation of the Brunello team this year? Obviously, Vasco's on board. Huge talent.
For sure, they have the talent, the resources, the boat, the sails, the whole package is there. They just need to make it work. I mean, before the start of this regatta, I was betting on them to be the ones fighting against Quantum and Platoon. Let's say, like being the North Sails best boat and hopefully fighting for the win. But so far they have not been able to make it happen. Many times they didn't have the best of lucks, but they were not. I mean, they were not sailing according to their potential. That's the best way to describe it. As soon as they are
supposing
able to happen, they will be contenders to the lead. And then Serafini, as we said, they were able to squeeze Platoon, and now they are having a hard time trying to hold Bronenose, which, as we said, it's a quick boat, I tell you, and they know how to do it. So if Bronenose can squeeze Serafini to the right, it's very probably that Bronenose will climb from 5th to 3rd at the top mark, because Platoon had to go. They are on the starboard lane now, and we'll see if they are able to hold that position against these two boats.
Serafini, Chio just slowing down there as you were saying that. But we're looking at Quantum approaching the windward mark, Tor. So far out on their own.
Yeah, Quantum just coming up to the windward mark here with quite a considerable lead. As you were just saying, I watched Quantum. I watched Platoon just tacking off and struggling there below Chio, and then come out onto the ley line. But Gladiator have just come out here too, and are only a few boat lengths ahead of Platoon, so they're not safe yet.
They're not safe yet, but let's just watch Quantum coming round this windward mark with a big lead. Gage, talk to us about the mark rounding. What are the finer points of their boat handling?
Well, a couple of years ago, they added another mark, which is a black, smaller mark that it's like an outside mark that you cannot sail in between.
That was to stop Vasco coming in on Port Always at the mark. It's called the Vasco mark.
Vasco is calling for the pin in 80% of the races, so that makes you approach the top mark from the left in 95% of the races. So I was very close to having a stroke, heart attacks, and many other
exactly
diseases.
what I was going to say. If you haven't had a heart attack or a stroke
from sailing with him, so for me it was a big release when that mark was implemented like a couple of years ago. For sure, Vasco was upset. Obviously, he didn't want it. But once you make that mark, obviously the good thing is that
you can just see it there, just for our viewers, just behind the Brennesec. Go on.
Yeah, so once you I mean, that mark has two things. Also makes you to tack from port to starboard outside the 3 lengths, so that's preventing you to make another more mistake. So we see here Platoon that was able to stay in front of Sio, and as we said, Bronenose was able to squeeze the Italian boat to the right. Unfortunately, they did in a way that they lost a little bit to Platoon, so now it's going to be a good battle in between those 3 boats to the third place of the podium at the end of this race. But the approach to the second mark is always tough because a big part of the race is decided there in all of the marks. So depends a lot of obviously where you're standing at the regatta, the amount of risk against rewards that you want to assume, and that many times decides how your final approach is. I mean, we've been seeing Platoon taking a lot of risk in these marks in the last couple of days with not a very good outcome so far, because they had penalties, or they had to bail out of the mark and jive and go around yesterday in particular. So I think that judging how much risk you want to take in these mark roundings is a very big part of the game, and where most of or many points are decided. So for sure you need to play it properly.
I mean, Guiche, while we've got you, I mean, you say Vasco started many times off the pin. What are the standard plays that you know of the different tacticians and boats that you see more often than not?
Well, it all depends a lot of how quick you feel. I mean, if you know this, there are conditions where you are quick, you normally lower the amount of risk that you want to take. In Palma, there are some days that you know that whoever wins the pins almost wins the race.
So we saw that yesterday with 3 from 3.
It is
off the pin.
It was not the case today, but whenever it's blowing from the 170, 160, 180 in Palma, we all know that the left is very strong. So normally we were trying to put a weight on the decisions. If we were going to go to the pin, the call was we want the pin 60-40. When it was a must-win pin, it was an 80-20 pin. So I knew that I had to take risk, and I knew that I had to fight as much as we can, and if we lose it, we lose it. But Vasco obviously is one of those that normally wants to go to the pin. Whenever the wind is shifting or it's very unstable, then you want to start more to the right to control the situation and be able to tack and play the shifts when you want. So depends a lot of how quick you are, the venue, and how much weight you put in those positions. But normally fighting for the pin, Proveza was very strong and willing to take risks. So every time it was a pin start, I mean, we were expecting to be fighting with Proveza. Quantum was normally a boat that has a more conservative approach on the start. Platoon is a little more random because they are able to do very good starts, but they are taking also a lot of penalties. So it's hard to defend against them because they are not very orthodox. How do you say?
Yeah, no, that's right.
So they are not. You do not know very well what can you expect from them. While from some other boats, you know what they can do. So
just to explain a little bit, so the difference between a pro driver and an owner driver is in that start situation. Then in your case, Vasco will say to you 60-40 in the pin, and then you deliver. It's up to you how you position the boat. Generally, the same as with the Proveza. Then it's Hamish Pepper who's saying to John Cutler, "This is the balance of risk I want to take."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that obviously every team works differently, but in our case, I was in charge of positioning ourselves, the geometry of the start and the timing of the starts, and then between Cole and Vasco were helping me with other boats. If they are coming from behind, if they were committed to windward, or if they still have the chance to switch and come for a push or not, or if we were overlap or not. So they were helping me with that input. But at the end, it was my responsibility to call for the trimmers to go to speed or not, or do a double tack or do whatever. It was my decision. They were helping me with the airboats, but it was my decision to. While with an owner-driver boat, the tactician or someone has to take the role of assisting or guiding the owner of what you want to do, and trying to make sure that they do what is best for the situation, and also you don't get a penalty, because many times it's a lot of aggression on the pit starts, especially when you are fighting hard for one of the ends. So many times one of the boats ends up with a penalty, or at least you go for the penalty. So with an owner driver, you need to make sure that you not only have a clean start, but you also stay out of trouble.
Indeed. Meantime, we're just seeing that probably Platoon and Gladiator head to head. Perhaps Platoon through to second in the meantime.
Yeah, it looks like Platoon went to the right hand of the course, looking downwind, and looks like the wind shifted to the right. So in theory, in the leaderboard, they are showing an advantage to them. I do not know if Gladiator had a problem before this, because they were enjoying a good lead, but also they are too far apart, so it's very hard to know yet if the advantage to Platoon is as big as it's showing. But if the breeze went a little bit to the right with this kind of leverage they have, for sure the gains or losses are a lot bigger. In the meantime, Quantum is like cruising to the finishing line. They're in perfect control of the situation. The crew is doing their job. They know what they have to do, and they are just, letting the race go, because they know they are in a very easy comfortable situation. Gladiator jives, Bronenose jives on top, so Gladiator will need to decide if they are clear or not to continue there. And in the meantime, Sled crosses behind both of them and goes to the corner of that run to have a chance to overtake either Alegre or some of the airboats that are on that other corner. So we'll see now how is the crossing between Gladiator and Platoon.
Indeed, how's it looking where you are just now, Tor? We're looking at Gladiator and Platoon.
Yes, I'm just on the left looking downwind next to Gladiator. They didn't have the best hoist. Their tack line was about 2 meters not made, so they were trying to get that down for a few minutes after the set, so that would have been costly for them as Platoon sailed out on out to the other side of the course, and Gladiator opted for a jibe set. So I think they could have been strong, but that mistake was costly. And then I just saw Cat Flap out on a halyard fixing the sheet as well. So we've had a couple issues coming down this run, which is definitely going to cost them a little bit. So I think if you were going to ask me, I think it would be Platoon that's going to be ahead in this cross.
That was the question. But yeah, I mean, that's what we're seeing on the tracking. We're seeing Platoon just taking a little bit of a lead over Gladiator. But as Tor just said, problems for Gladiator at the Windward Mark, not getting the tack line made perfectly and unable to jibe set as quickly, and Platoon, or ending up jibe setting and Platoon sailing out a little bit further to the right. And that seems to have given them the advantage coming down this run, but you can't make these kind of mistakes up against the double world champions, Guige.
Yeah, whenever you have a boat like Platoon behind, you need to make sure you make your stuff properly. Gladiator was enjoying a good enough lead, but not big enough to make a bad rounding, as we saw in the first lap with Interlodge in one of these Sandokan or Sambuca jibe sets, however you want to call it. If you do it wrong, the losses are very, very big, and it wasn't shown on the screen, at least in our screen at the beginning, and that's why we're wondering why Gladiator lost so much to Platoon. But that's exactly what happened. But in the end, it's not that they are leading by that much as we were expecting, but in fact Platoon is leading Gladiator, and Gladiator now it's in a tighter spot with Bronenose and Sled. So Platoon now consolidated into second. Quantum is out of the equation now, and now the battle is for second, third, fourth, and fifth positions that are close enough to still have options on all of the positions involved.
So whose position do you prefer of the three?
Oh, that's a tough question, but I think that Platoon obviously is good, because if they are able to cross in front of Sled, they can come to this corner, jibe onto starboard,
and keep Alegre and Bronenose under cover,
and keep all of them at bay. I mean, on the other hand, Gladiator, I think they are going to play for the corner and trying to approach the finishing line from the pin and try to be covered by the 3-length zone, even if they are on port. So we'll see how it ends up in between these 3-4 boats, that they are close enough to still make it open. It's unbelievable. In the first bit, you get your nose ahead by 2 lengths.
Meters, yeah.
You can cross, you can choose your way, you can choose your moments, and that can turn into an enormous lead, as we see here with Quantum. I mean, it's no way that they are like 800 meters quicker than any other boats. It's just a way of the rich gets richer, when you are able to stay out of trouble, as we were talking before the transmission, or when the transmission was beginning. You stay out of trouble, you put your nose ahead, you are able to choose your shifts, play the paths, and position yourself accordingly.
In particular, you're seeing that banana effect upwind. You can just pick your line up and use it to maximum effect. Whereas if you've got boats round about you, you're dictated to
Yeah,
to a certain extent.
For sure, Quantum was the first of the leading pack to head to the right, and they got the advantage of that geographical feature. And once they are in front, you know that they are very, very tough to beat. And that's exactly what happened. On the other hand, Phoenix, Bogest, Alegre had their share of problems, and this kind of fleet you cannot afford to lose that much. So Quantum now approaching to the finishing line. Maria with the horn ready to be used, and Quantum about to win the first day of the Invitational Trophy and prepare for the second race. That if we have all boats back again on the line, it's going to be very, very challenging again. It's a very well-deserved win for Quantum, and now we'll see, Andy, who will take the second place on the podium, which is looking like to be on Platoon's side, but Gladiator still has a chance to be fighting there. I'm almost sure Robbie is going to be upset to lose that second position.
Maybe he was the bad luck charm after all. But yeah, I mean, look at that. Quantum Racing looking back upwind to watch the battle for second and third. And one thing for sure, Guiget, we don't need handicaps. We don't need any kind of computer to work out who's won this race. For sure, Quantum Racing are a long way ahead of the next 52 Super Series boats.
They obviously they won by miles, and now they are immediately looking backwards. Not because they were looking at the race, they were looking at the wind and what's the weather doing to prepare themselves to the second race. In the meantime, Gladiator jives, they did a reasonably good jive. So we'll see if their bet to the right of the run pay dividends or not. But as I said, Platoon still had a small advantage, but I think that Gladiator has a good chance to be at least on the podium. And indeed, Platoon is in second. And now I might be wrong. I think that
Sled might be able to steal their place on the podium.
Sled make a good comeback on this final run, and looks like they have a chance. It's all decided of how far to the 3-length zone are going to be at the intersection. If Gladiator is able to get inside, they are protected by the buoy, but looks to me that they are outside the zone, and Sled has a small advantage to sneak the position from them, and then it's Veronese and Sio coming also, so it can be tough for Gladiator now.
Oh, hard, yeah, indeed.
Maybe Sio.
Maybe even Sio. Let's just wait and see. But
I think that Sio is starting the race.
Anyway, unfortunately, Guiget's got to go with another previous engagement. We're just waiting to see, but I think that indeed Chio, Marco Serafini's team, still third on the finish line. Long way behind Quantum Racing. Gladiator end up with fourth, second at the top mark, fourth in the finish line. Sled get fifth, Allegra sixth, Brunana sixth. Actually, Allegra, considering they had that problem at the Winmer mark first time up. Getting back to sixth in this fleet is at least some kind of compensation. Brunana sixth, seventh. Good to see our team from Thailand with Mikel Mergui, who's the French project manager who used to run the boat when it was Team Vision Future. He's on board, a very, very good sailor. Steered by Nick Rogers, coming away with eighth, ahead of Provezza. Roberto Monte's Ares Blue in 10th place. But really, overall, the race delivering pretty much exactly what we wanted. A big fleet, full 17 boats in the start line, but it's exciting now because hopefully in the next race we'll see the Phoenix and Beau Geste being able to participate a little bit more in the race. But no mistaking the winners. There's 2 minutes and 15 seconds for Quantum Racing ahead of Platoon. Obviously both training partners, as Guige was saying. Big advantages to them running Quantum Sales, sharing the same platform, the same data analysis program, and also good for the Platoon team. They've had a little bit bumpy, a couple of bumpy races in the Super Series, so coming away with the second and having had a good race with the Gladiator. It's all to the good for them. So Tor, your thoughts on that race? It was pretty tough for Gladiator coming down that final run, going from second to fourth.
Yeah, pretty tough for those guys, and that finish again was a very close one for third, fourth, and fifth. So, yeah, it could have been worse, but I think they'll be happy with a fourth and in a bigger fleet as well. So, yeah, shame that they couldn't get a second. I'm just having a look around, and I can't see Phoenix and Beau Geste out here, so I'm hoping they'll be able to join us for the next race. But I'm not sure. Maybe if their problems are so big that they've had to go into the dock.
We'll see what we can find out. But in the meantime, as they finish order, Quantum Racing with that big lead. Platoon second, Chio. Good for Chio, a team who are out with the 52 Super Series at the moment. But as Guige was saying, thinking about coming back, thinking about having another boat. So a third in this fleet today. That's going to be a very, very positive outcome for them. But that's our standings just now. We're going to take a little bit of a break as we wait for the second race. And great to see the conditions on the water are going to continue. We've got 13, 14, 15 knots of breeze. Conditions staying great. Join us in a wee while. We'll go out with the second race. Welcome back to Puerto Portals, and we're looking ahead to the second race of the 20th Anniversary Invitational Regatta, or the 20th Anniversary Invitational Day. We had one race just gone, which we saw Quantum Racing winning by a long, long way. A little incident, I think, between Beaugest and Phoenix, but principally Beaugest, unfortunately, having a little bit of damage, Fergal Finlay.
We just had them come into the dock a while ago and had a little look at the damage, and we're all here to help them and help out, give materials and support where we can. Obviously, lovely to have so many of the invitational boats turn up, and we're all well resourced here, so hopefully we can help out, and hopefully they're back on the water tomorrow.
Indeed, but certainly not back in the water this afternoon. Also Phoenix on the dock this afternoon, as much I think a matter of courtesy, but unfortunately we're not going to see them. In the meantime, we have been focusing on sustainability on the 52 Super E's for a number of years, and this is our latest initiatives and our sustainability video. The Sailing Club here in Puerto Portals has got one of the most active young people's programmes, and they've been down seeing the TP52s and participating in the education programme.
It's about how to enjoy the ocean and the sea, and also how to respect and protect it. So first we teach them how to behave in the school, how to respect the ocean, how to reduce consumption of plastics, and how to reduce as well the consumption of water. We talk about problematics we have in the sea and solutions. We talk about different food chains and how we interact as humans in the food chains. Everything like combined with the plastic, how the plastic from us humans comes into the food chain. We had a chat here in Puerto Portals. We brought some projects and persons that are doing solutions for this problematics we're talking about. We do a cleanup in the beach, and then we weigh everything we picked up during the week in the sea, and we also do a nice figure with it.
Sustainability, as ever, is really at the top of the agenda for the 52 Super Series. It's great here in Puerto Portals to have two boats in particular who are following their own agendas under the sustainability umbrella. We've got zero emissions from Finland and Tony Guiu's Blue Carbon.
I am very happy to be here because the leaders on the sustainability programs in racing is Super Series, and we are happy because we are pushing a little bit more on that, doing a lot of things to be real sustainable. The thing is that we want to go one step beyond, and then the thing that we did is to calculate the footprint of the construction of the boat in order to be neutral in CO2. And the thing that we did is to have the standard TP52 footprint in order to be able to transmit and to pass into all the fleet this footprint, and then all the fleet can be CO2 neutral using our footprint. Well, we need to do all the things that we are doing, so starting with the plastic things, but we need to do actions to repair the sea, to repair our playground, to keep the waters clean. We need to act inside the harbors. We need to do a lot of awareness to the people. We need to sensibilize. I think that the people doesn't know a lot of things, so what you are doing in the Super Series is the track, and then we are trying to go in this track and helping as much as possible in the sensibilization. When you think in sustainability, you need to think globally and you need to act locally.
One of the hard facts about the 52 Super Series is that we have many mouths to feed every day on the water with the teams and with the organisation team on shore, and inevitably there is always some food left over every day. Well, since the last time we were here in Puerto Portals, the 52 Super Series has worked with an NGO called Yachting Gives Back, and that food is redistributed in the city of Palma every night.
We take them all to Tardor, which is where we took them 2 years ago when we first met you. Still, obviously, hundreds of people, homeless people, need feeding every day. So we've worked out, I think we've usually been collecting enough to feed 25 or 30 people each day. So they're closed now, so I will take this home, put it all in the fridge, and it'll go down to Tardor first thing in the morning. The homeless situation itself has not been too crazy, thank God, because of the restrictions on evictions. But there are lots and lots of people hanging onto their accommodation by their fingernails, but who once they've managed to pay the rent, don't have enough left over for food and other essentials. So the food banks have been incredibly busy. So there have been a lot of people depending on those, and thanks to the support we've had, we've been able to help a lot with food, but also things like toiletries and cleaning supplies, just the other things, other essentials that aren't so obvious as food that people also need. I think really just not waste things. I think the industry generally, I mean, by definition, the super yacht industry is very high quality. So they tend to discard things which still have a lot of life in them. So it's really just thinking about things before you throw them away. Just think what's still got life in it, and give us a shout, and we'll come and collect from the boat. So because so much of the stuff is good quality, typically towels that do a season in the guest cabins and a season in the crew cabins, and then what? But they've still got 10 years of good life in them. So we can make use of all this stuff.
Well, great to see Yachting Gives Back and our alliance with that local NGO doing so much good work. But in general, Fergal Finlay, great to see that the yachting community in Palma being so supportive and starting to be more of a thinking community.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think what Nick said then is there's so much potential wastage from super yachts when there's a half-open tin or of something that then gets discarded for a full one or something that can be given to someone who really needs it, and it's great to be a part of it. They come around to the containers at the end of the day and they pick up whatever we would have in the past thrown in the bin. So it's great that it's going somewhere.
But there's a real community spirit, isn't there? People are starting to think, and you had a bunch of initiatives during the COVID crisis here, weren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. COVID drove a real community feeling of helping each other out, and it's nice to be able to do it here with the food and other stuff as well. Like Nick said, towels and other stuff that people need that we might not. So. It's a lovely thing to be a part of.
Indeed. Anyway, let's look ahead to the racing. We're not too far off the start of the second invitational race. We're going to go in the water with Tor Tomlinson. I mean, our images look fantastic here. Tor, we're still in this great sea breeze, and we've got about 2 minutes 40 seconds to the start. But how's it looking down there on the TV boat?
Hi Andy, it's looking great down here. We've got similar conditions to the first race, a course axis of 225 again. It was a great first race, really looking forward to see the boats back out there again. It was a shame what happened with Phoenix and Beaugest having their little coming together, but we've still got 14 boats out here, some awesome close racing to come, and I wonder if Quantum can stay on top.
What do you think, Fergal? A big win for Quantum there, but the Gladiator were up there. Could they do a little bit better in this next race, do you think?
I mean, we've just been seeing improvements throughout the week on Gladiator. We're a brand new team, all starting to gel together, and we all know how tight this fleet is, and any small mistake is punishable by the rest of the fleet. I mean, Quantum just sailed an absolute stormer that last race, but it was very nice to see us up the top after a tough start to the week, and especially when there's more boats on the line. And I think the biggest credit goes to Chio. They've sailed in the Super Series before, and now they've come back and they've got an older boat. They're immediately disadvantaged by the age of their boat, but they're such a good group of guys. Marco's a great driver, and it was really nice to see them up and in amongst the Super Series boats.
Indeed. Anyway, how's the start shaping up, Tor? We're at a minute and 15 seconds. Right-hand track last time we saw Quantum start fairly
they're hanging back a little bit. Yeah, they're hanging back a little bit in this start, maybe after a couple of boats being over at the last start. We've got Brunellasek down at the port end of the line, and Privet's is still liking that side too. Chio down there as well, but Quantum looking strong coming in at the boat end. They obviously want that right-hand side of the course again, so we could be in for a bit of deja vu here.
They could be. Sled lining up nicely, protecting the windward end of the line as best they can. Meantime, Gladiator coming in and tacking underneath them, trying to find a gap, Fergal.
Yeah, I mean, you look at most of the fleet there within a 2 boat lengths of the line, and Gladiator just out of shot still. Only 20 seconds to go. It is a long line, plenty of space on it now, and hopefully they get up in there on time and at pace. I think Quantum's setting up for a perfect one here.
Indeed, Quantum just setting up for the speed build. Zero emissions coming in to windward, the Finnish boat. But Quantum using a little bit of runway there coming into the gun. Tor, how does it look down there?
Lovely start from Quantum with Zero Emissions just following them in there. Definitely strong here on the right-hand side of the line. Quite a clean start there. Nobody over, so that's nice to see. I'm just seeing Gladiator coming in on the right here and have already tacked and heading out towards the right-hand side of the course. So hoping they might make some gains by coming out to the right early. Zero Emissions are holding Quantum out to the left at the moment, so they won't be able to get over to the right as soon as they like.
So nice little bit, nice start from Quantum all in all then, Fergal.
Yeah, I mean, that was perfect time and distance. They came in on the money at pace and shot off, and now they get to control the whole fleet who are down to leeward of them. And they choose to tack now early after Zero Emissions gave them the room to do so. And, get out to the right early if it's anything like the first race.
A little bit of a mix-up with the guests on board the Gladiator there just at the back of the boat. Rob Whelan struggling to find his spot on the rail.
Oh, they should give him all the space. He's the lucky charm. Get him on, keep him on there for the rest of the week. And Mahon.
Exactly. But down in the pin end of the line, I think seeing Beranisek, Chio starting down on the left side. On this right side, they started in the same kind of place in the previous race, Gladiator. Provetza had a problem off the line last time and struggled, but they seem to have got away this time down towards the pin end. But a little bit of a drag race down to the pin end as far as we can see. Tor. Much more of a split in the fleet, I think, this time.
Yeah, it's... Yeah, definitely. The pin didn't look as strong in this race as it did in the last, and all the boats are heading over to the right. They must have seen those gains that Quantum got over here last time. So it's going to be a right-hand sided race course, I think, on this race.
What do you think, Fergal?
Well, I mean, if it's the same picture as the first race, Quantum are going to be wanting to do. We're going to see a very similar race from them. Get out to the right early. Hook into that right breeze, like Guijo was saying about the banana, which actually just made me really hungry, him saying that all the time. But it's going to be that same effect, getting onto the western side of the bay and getting that nice right pressure to bring you up to the top mark in a nice lift.
So Gladiator not so great off the start round. Just looking at our tracking just now, it's between Quantum and Sled in the middle right. Out on the left, Beranisek, Allegre, and to a lesser degree Interlodge. Chio dropping back very slightly at the moment. But Quantum pretty conservative off the line, as they perhaps can afford to be, Fergal.
Yeah, I mean, they came in as the most windward boat and had plenty of space between them and Sled.
The speed build, yeah.
And they nailed it. I think Sled had a really good start as well. But I actually think if you went back and looked at the start again, it looked like everyone was quite conservative. There looked to be a bit of distance looking down the line.
The speed build.
Yeah, and but everyone, I didn't look like everyone was bang on the line at the start. For me, they looked still a little bit back, but I mean their computers are better than my eye. Sure.
So Quantum in the middle of the course, I think, with the early lead on this. Just rising up as much as they can into the Sled line just to try and protect. They're clear ahead just now.
Yeah, the bonus for these boats, Quantum, Sled, and you see Beranisek up the top, is you just do one tack early. And then you're just concentrating on steering a straight line, keeping all your targets up, your heel angles, your boat speed, your true wind angle, and just, like you say, a drag race out to that right side, keeping the manoeuvres down. You go back in the fleet, and there's a massive cloud of bad air for boats like Gladiator and maybe some of the other Arabas, Blue Carbon. Big cloud of bad air you got to try and sail through, and then getting bounced around. Quantum will probably do this in 2 or 4 tacks. Mm-hmm. I think Gladiator have already done 3. They're only halfway up the beat, but you just get bounced around the middle of the fleet and you don't get to sail your own race so much. These guys are being allowed to do what they do best, which is just hammer off in a straight line. And you see Doug fully locked in there on the helm. It's not moving very much at all. And nice, I mean, a tool will probably tell us better, but looks pretty flat out there. Not much of a chop that you have to steer around. So.
Yeah, it's looking nice out here. We're a little bit bouncy in the chase boat. I'm getting a bit wetter than I did yesterday, but that's all right. I'll put up with it for you guys.
You'll survive.
Quantum looking to be coming round the bow of sled really nicely here, and yeah, definitely looking strong. I do have a bit of deja vu. It was a lovely start from them, lots of space for them to play with, and they're now just doing what they like and sailing their own race.
I wonder whether the target is to get a bigger lead, but really Quantum in control just now. We're with the Eras Blue just in our foreground shot there. A little bit of a challenge perhaps from the Brunellesec up to weather. Started more towards the pin. Sure that Vasco would like to deliver a race win for the Brunellesec team. Even if it's not a points counter, Fergal.
Oh yeah, but you go out and even if it's the practice race, you want to be out there winning it, right? So to get a win on the board here amongst 14 other boats and still the best sailors in the world, it's it's really. And Vasco's just had a bit of a hiatus from the fleet, and coming back in and wants to get back to his usual winning ways.
Indeed, I think it's. In many respects, it's easier for Terry to slot back into the Quantum team. Vasco joining a new team. It's going to take some time to gel. Obviously, Morgan Larson, an exceptional helmsman in his own right. It's going to take a little bit of time for these two to gel perfectly.
They're doing a pretty good job so far, and it's been quite funny on the water watching this week how aggressive they are. It's. They've been really aggressive downwind in some of the luffs.
We saw that
when a boat
yesterday,
jives up on top. They had a really good ding dong with Quantum yesterday, with Gladiator the day before. Just really not letting anyone get away with anything. It's like watching the dinghies.
But much closer just now between Quantum and Brunellesec. Brunellesec to weather. Maybe a little bit more left in the breeze. Certainly, and also Provezza looking quite good relative to Brunellesec. Tor.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're looking strong on them there. I do like the right hand side of this course, and it looks like the port tack's the long tack on this beat, so there's still gains to be made out on this side, but they could have a nice little lift up there in the left corner on the other side of the banana.
Yeah, you have to get a long way underneath El Toro, the point there on the southwestern tip of the bay. I think you got to get pretty close to that land to start feeling the right shift. So yeah, it always looks good on the left on this way out. I think generally you look back at past regattas in Palma, Copa del Reyes, etc. You always see the left kind of paying early, but this week we're actually sailing a bit further into the west of the bay. So it's not super left-hand favoured like it is over in the east part of the bay, where we sometimes sail.
It's one of the things that you expect when you sail out of Puerto Portales, but we have seen in the past where you come out of Puerto Portales and you go all the way to the left to the normal Copa del Rey race tracks or whatever, the normal east of the bay race tracks, and it's much more one-sided, but this is really a little more even. And indeed Provezza, our provisional leader just now, lifting on port, just sailing a slightly higher angle than Quantum, and correspondingly I think Brunellesec going very nicely. So for sure Tor, Quantum not having it all their own way up this first beat, and remember that Provezza were very much out of the picture by this stage on the first race.
Yeah, the Prevets have been very up and down with their races, and actually I think it's because they're pushing that start line so much. They were over in the first race and had a good start in this race, so if they could just get a little bit more consistent and not be over, then they could definitely be at the top of this fleet.
So we've got the Finnish boat, Zero Emissions, in our foreground just now. We've got them 7th just now on the leaderboard. A young team, Fergal.
Yeah, it's
having a great experience here. Their first time racing with the 52 Super Series. And I mean, one of the great things for us is that they come here knowing the series, having watched all the videos and followed the circuit for many years, moving up to the TP52, and now getting the chance to come here racing. They have, I think. They have a programme with 5 under-20s attached to the crew, and they've got 3 under-20s on board today.
Yeah, it's amazing, and what an amazing experience to get to come here and race against the world's best in the best monohull fleet in obviously in my opinion the best monohull fleet in the world, and to be crossing tacks with the likes of Vasco and Terry and all the Cup sailors, Olympic gold medalists out there, and coming in and doing this, having the IRC race day where all the boats get to race together is brilliant. And we haven't seen this many boats sail since I
was a lad.
I was going to say I probably wasn't born then.
I mean, as Geisha was saying, we came here in 2006, 2007, and there was over 20 boats on the dock. And it was a real atmosphere. You'd have the King would come down and join the Bribon. We'd have loads of public would come down because, as I said before, it's a free public access. And although there was barriers that protected the race dock, as such, usually you'd at 11 o'clock or 11:30 dock out time, you'd have hundreds of local people would come down just to see the King going on board the Bribon.
Yeah, we've seen that in the past, and you have events like Copa del Rey where the King comes down, and now the
difference, though, of course, with Copa del Rey is it's a closed yacht club, and the public don't have access. And here, it was always the start of the King's summer holidays. But nice to see such a big fleet here, and some boats from that era. Principally, then Tony Guillau's boat, his boat is from 2005. Was originally Balearia, and unfortunately, I think he's on the dock just now. I don't think he's managed to get out racing. I think he had a problem.
The Blue Carbon.
Yeah,
they're back out for this race. Yeah, they docked out
of a tracker.
No, they're out on I believe they're out on the left-hand side. We're towards the Port Ley line. They were in here on the dock. I think they had a problem in the first race, but they got back out to join the second one. But amazing to see that boat, 2005, and
it
having
looks
a look
immaculate,
at it
doesn't it?
In comparison to the new boats and how the boat has progressed over the last.
There, just on the right, isn't it?
It could be. Looking at the differences in the boats and the designs and the hardware on board, it's cool to see them here.
So great racing just now between Brunello-Sec, Prevets and Quantum in particular. A little gap back to Interlodge, but it's going to be all about this windward mark approach ultimately. But at the moment, Brunello-Sec have the advantage, Fergal.
Yeah, I mean they're sailing really far. They look a little bit more heeled than Quantum and Sled. Look a little bit more powered. You see them rolling over the top of Chio pretty quick there. I mean that's the newest boat in the fleet. On paper, it should be the fastest boat here, and got a great team on board. But yeah, they're looking really strong there.
Sled furthest to leeward, just on the bow of Quantum. A little bit pinned for the meantime. Not going to be able to get out of there.
Yeah, it looks like
short term, but
looks like a bit of dipping action to get out there if they really want to get back to the right anymore. But I think they're pretty fairly close to that starboard ley line. Can't really tell from here.
But for sure, as such, then Brunellasek controlling the ley line just now. Chio just allured her judge to be second. And Provetsa. Just looking at Sled just now. And zooming back out, looking at Brunellasek. Brunellasek then have a Provetsa pretty much on the same line. So Tora, the advantage just now with the blue boat, with Brunellasek. Vladimir Lobomorov's team with Morgan Larson on the helm and Vasco calling tactics.
Yeah, so it looks like our right-hand side of the course that we didn't pay as much on this beat. Maybe the sea breeze is starting to soften a little bit and go left. Brunellasek are definitely in a strong position here, and it's good to see Chio just below them as well. So it's going to be close here between Brunellasek, Chio, Provetsa and Quantum at this top mark. No one's on the ley line at the moment, I don't think. Oh, maybe the boat's a little bit further down in the pack, but yeah, it'll be close as to whether Interlodge is on the ley line. But yeah, it's going to be really close between these top 5 boats, that's for sure.
For sure, just now a little bit of leverage to Brunellasek's advantage relative to Quantum. Quantum a little bit of distance to leeward. But I don't know whether they can come in, find a little bit of a lefty on port when they come across. But Brunellasek with control just now, Fergal.
Yeah, if this wind isn't going as right as we expected it to, or as it was in the first race, then Quantum's still got a bit of, if there's any left pressure on the port ley line, they've still got a bit of a shot to come back at Brunellasek. And just saying there's a 100-metre gap, I think that'll probably close pretty quick when Quantum and Sled tack over. But I'd be pretty comfortable saying Brunellasek would go round first. I don't think there's a real big lefty going to be up there, and I don't think there's too far to go to the ley line that it would really pay so much. But I mean, looking at the tracker, they kind of look a little lower than Brunellasek, so maybe there is a little left there. But if Brunellasek keep their bow high in that right that they're getting, they should be pretty comfortable.
It's a good shot of the ley line then, showing the relative angles between Brunellasek and Quantum. Let's watch this, Fergal, but for sure looks like
I think
Brunellasek should be comfortably clear going round this windward mark.
Yeah, and we might see Quantum just slide in front of Provetsa. Could be a lee bow on them, and if Provetsa hold their bow down a little, they can make it quite awkward for Quantum to actually get to that top market. I don't know, it's going to be quite a little dip from Quantum there, just to go around the back of Provetsa, and they'll just slide in front of Chio, tack on the hammer of Provetsa, and Sled will probably come in just behind Chio and Interlodge, try and slot somewhere in there.
Provetsa just a little bit tight and ley line. John Cutler having to work just to get up to the mark, but he's done a fantastic job to get round. So too, a little bit slender for the Quantum team. They're getting round in third. Good work from, and also there's Chio in fourth, ahead of Interlodge.
Great stuff from Chio. Seeing the 2018 Quantum and the 2011 Quantum go around in 3 and 4.
It's Sled and Allegra.
This is the tie boat.
Well, that's the tie boat, isn't it? Yeah, well done them. Then Sled.
I didn't actually see I haven't seen Allegra yet. Are they?
And then this is Era's Blue, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think, and then Zero Emissions. Then Tony Giu on the
No, I think that's Tony Langley. I think
Sorry,
that's the
Tony
other
Langley. Wrong Tony.
They'll be looking to take a couple of scalps of the older IRC boats down here. They've already got past Erebus and the Spanish boat. But I didn't see Alegre along that mark round. I might have missed them, but maybe Tor can tell us if they're still out there.
Have you seen Alegre, Tor?
I was just looking around as you were talking about that, but there's quite a few that coloured hull boat in the fleet now, and I can't actually see them either. I've not quite picked them out. I'll see if I can pick them out on the way down the run here.
I can tell you where they are. They're currently reversing into the dock, into their parking space. So there's obviously a little issue on board there. And we've also got Platoon on the dock here as well, so maybe something in the pre-start between those two guys. I didn't realise I haven't seen Platoon either, but those two guys are now back on the dock here.
Well, that's not good.
We'll try and find out a little bit of what happened to those guys. Maybe something in the pre-start, and hopefully no damage to either boat, and they can be back out on the water tomorrow.
I thought we were looking a bit slim on boats at the top mark there, but that explains it. We've got a bit of a split in the fleet here. Quantum opted for a jibe set again, and Brunenisek went a bit down to the right, looking downwind, and have just jibed back as well. So I think Brunenisek still looking strong for me. Preveza just jibing back behind them as well.
You say Quantum are kind of confident in this right-hand side a little more. I think we saw on the end of that last race that the kind of middle right really paid at the end. We saw Gladiator get passed by a couple of boats. Just they went right. The middle left paid downwind at the end of the last race. So if the conditions are similar to the end of the last race, then Quantum might have been looking a bit at that. They had so much time to look back up the course and see what was happening on the last run that they probably would have seen that gain being made in the bottom left corner.
So much more even race, this one. And Brunenisek doing a nice job down the right side of the run, ahead of Preveza, keeping Preveza covered. Maybe some advance possible from Quantum, more to the left. How are you seeing it, Tor?
Yeah, I think I like Quantum's position here out on the left, but relative to the bottom mark, I think Brunenisek still have a little edge on them. Obviously, I don't have the tracker here, but that's what it looks like on the water. The pressure is down a bit from the last race. Maybe the sea breeze is just starting to settle down a little bit, but yes, still looking strong for Brunenisek.
And Chio, the still ahead of Quantum, Fergal, the 2018 boat, wasn't it? The Chio was a
2011.
2011 boat.
Yeah, quick boat, really quick boat. I think the last time Chio were here in Portals, we had a little run-in with them. If you remember that, back in 2016, I think. When we, yeah. Lovely to have that group of guys back. They're a really nice team and really, really good. Like the core group are the same guys who were sailing here in 2016 and I think all together since they started. But yeah, really nice to have them back, and hopefully they do a bit more sailing. I heard Guille say they might be doing a bit more with us.
He was saying they were thinking about getting a new boat, which would be fantastic. But for sure, if they could do a few events with us next year, just talking about how the circuit will shape up, we're certainly, I don't think it's any secret, we were committed to going to a couple of venues this year, and we should probably next year go to them. So to Galicia and Cascais, with Arobas in 10th. A nice group of guys as well, French team. The thing is with most of these IRC 52s, they go round, or ORC IRC 52s, they have a pretty active circuit one way or another, a lot of them doing the big offshore races and the ORC Worlds and ORC Europeans, things like that, Fergal.
Yeah, I mean, well, talking about Geo, they went and won the ORC Worlds a couple of years ago, 2018. I think they were there doing that. Arabas, we've sailed against them in Saint-Tropez, and they go off and do a couple of offshore events as well. So yeah, they're always busy. I think they've got another boat that they race on as well, a Swan.
That's right.
But actually, we were talking about the Kings earlier. I think when that boat used to be Cam,
that's right.
Current King was the Prince then, and he used to sail on that with those guys. I remember meeting him in one event and had no idea who he was, and wondered why people were taking pictures of me.
So quick on board, or look at the sleds going into their jibe. Fergal, talk us through this jibe.
Well, you see Murray driving through that jibe there, and you see the late main jibe. So they allow the spinnaker to come over all the way. They slow it down in the middle, keep that boom out, so the kite gets to fill early. Then they drop the boom down, get a little bit of heel on. You see them, kind of putting a little bit of power and speed back in, because as Tor said earlier, it's a little bit lighter out there now. So they're having to get that pump out of the boat when they turn up. Get up to their target speed and then roll back down.
We saw it a little bit yesterday, but that was really a very clean jibe, just exactly as you said, isn't it?
Yeah, super clean jibe, and you see the kinetics of the crew on board, how they're moving their weight around. They move as one unit, and the more the weight helps out, the less the driver has to steer the boat around.
That's right. As you say, it's like dinghy sailing, isn't it, when you do your roll tack?
Absolutely. It's just in these light conditions, it is a big dinghy, and the more you use the crew weight, then and Sled are a good core group. You saw that jibe there was, well, pretty much textbook, I think, for the jibing nerds out there. They would have liked that one.
So leaders then coming down this first run of the second invitational race of the day. Brunanasek, Pravetsa in second, Quantum third, Chio in fourth. But all in all, a great race. We're looking at Pravetsa now. Perhaps a little gain back at Brunanasek. We'll see how they come out of this jibe. Not quite the same kinetics that you were talking about with the Pravetsa, was there?
Yeah, a little less weight movement of the crew as a unit. You see them heeling over, and I think there's one guy going up to windward there to try and flatten the boat off, get that little pump going. But I think the biggest gain down here has probably been, you saw Quantum in that last shot when both boats were on port. The Quantum have really come into Pravetsa. I know the tracker says it's still 70 odd metres, but that gap to me looks a little smaller than the top mark. And I think we're going to see the gap smaller to Brunanasek than 130 metres when the two boats come together, and potentially Pravetsa could put a jibe on Brunanasek to make another little gain.
So Tor, we're seeing a little bit of compression at the front of the fleet, perhaps Quantum catching Pravetsa very slightly, Pravetsa correspondingly catching Brunanasek. We're seeing that lead dropping just slightly as we come down the run.
Yes, definitely. We're not seeing what we've seen in other races with the rich getting richer. There's definitely going to be some close boat-on-boat stuff coming down into this bottom mark here. It's really nice to see the boats from the Invitational class up here as well. Looking forward to seeing them racing in the Super Series maybe in the later parts of the year.
Kind of saw the just from that last shot, you saw the on Pravetsa, because where Brunanasek jibed in front, they've actually got people down to leeward trying to get a bit more heel on the boat. You see one guy down to leeward trying to get a little bit more heel on the boat, sail a little bit lower, so they keep that advantage on Gazprom. When Gazprom jibe, they can do a symmetrical jibe on top and try and steal some of their air, and think Quantum would be looking at doing the same thing if they get close enough to Leyland that they think it's worth it. Another thing you see here from this shot, looking at Preveza, their weight is quite far for all the crew weight, spare crew weight is quite far forward. In the last shot we saw of Quantum, we saw them actually stacked further aft. Maybe you can't quite see it on Quantum there, but there's so much
variation between the rolling boat and the Botin boat.
Yeah.
But for sure there was points yesterday where both Platoon and Preveza were quick in their sweet spot downwind or in the kind of 11 to 13 knots.
Yeah, that range is a really nice range for those JV boats. They do like that kind of flow. We have one from 2015, and we really love that flat water 12 knot range. But stunning shot there of all the boats coming down.
This is what we're here for, isn't it? Yeah. Just a nice big fleet racing in the Bay of Palma in perfect sea breeze conditions.
Yeah, this is what I remember watching years ago. And yeah, 20-odd boats in, when was it, 2007, 2008. And
to be fair, the great thing you have to reflect is the technology has come on so much in terms of televising the live racing.
Aye.
These drone shots. The old days putting up a helicopter, A, not sustainable, and B, expensive.
Yeah.
But so looking at Brunner-Sec.
I think Interlodge have made a nice gain down here since the top mark as well. They're going to be coming in, could be getting a few scalps, claiming water at the bottom mark if they can get in within that 3-boat circle.
So Brunner-Sec going around the left-hand mark, looking upwind, Tor.
Yeah, that mark's definitely looking favoured to me, and it looks like Quantum's going to follow Preveza and Brunner-Sec around that same mark. So it's looking more upwind and a bit favoured. So yeah, looks like we're going to have quite a few boats going to that mark, and we've got Interlodge coming in next. So they've definitely made some gains. Fergal was right when he spotted that. But yeah, it's busy bottom mark as usual.
Did just the one boat coming to the right-hand mark, looking upwind. But yeah, everything to play for all the way through the fleet. Chio coming to the right-hand mark, looking upwind, bow number 23.
Really tough rounding from Interlodge on that. They did a full 180. Kind of, you can still see their weight
track,
there.
yeah.
The handbrake was on for that one a little bit, and kind of allowed the Thai boat to come in, Thai 72, to come in and make a little gain on them. But I think they found their groove pretty early, Interlodge, and yeah, the boat was so quick as Azura it still is now.
So Thai 72 coming around in 8th place. Zero emissions in 9th. They're all in contention. They're all got a battle on. Arrobas then in 10th. But they're all having a great day one way or another on the water, racing in this fleet. And it's a learning experience for a lot of these guys in the Invitational fleet, Fergal.
Yeah, massively. A big thing about sailing in 14 boats, fleet management for their next event. Whether they go to Palma Vela or one of the other events coming up soon with plenty of boats at them, you get to learn fleet management a bit better because you're not racing true IRC. There's still a bit of a time difference, but you are still sailing in very even boats, all the same size. So that's a big learning experience for some of the newer teams to come in who haven't. Sometimes these guys are racing against 40-footers or 60-footers, and you don't really get the same feel and the same buzz from it when you're trying to lee bow someone or
Looks like maybe something happened on the Chio. Perhaps Tor seemed to have dropped. Oh no, they're coming up the windward mark at 4 times the speed of everyone else. So gone from 10th to 5th. It's a little tracker bonus there. So bow number 5 there is the sled, as Fergal said, Murray Jones steering. And we spoke to him yesterday, he's absolutely loving it.
I bet, driving the boat in these fleets is so fun, and
he's a pretty accomplished helmsman in his own right, going way back. But he said it's been a while. He said you don't lose it, and it's getting great information from Adam Bashel, Josh Jr. and Jeremy Lomas, all conspiring to get the boat round the track with the best possible positioning, and they've been going pretty well in the Super Series, lying second just now in the regatta. And just to remind you, this is an invitational race, for we have a trophy, of course, on board the Thai boat, which I believe they have 6 family members on board, a great range of ages, and they are going to be joining us, I believe, in Menorca and perhaps at the World Championships, and they're going to have a proper name by then. They said that the boat is so new to them they didn't have a chance to pick a name, and that was the number that the Thai authorities gave them. So let's just stick with that and then work on the name for the next regatta. So maybe any suggestions, Fergal?
I don't think they want to be taking name suggestions from a guy with the name Fergal. Call it Fergal. Ask my mum, she comes up with good names.
This year. With one exception.
Yeah.
So there we go with the Provezza. Ergen Imrie, what a character at the back of the boat there. Loves his international yacht racing. And they're going pretty well just now in second, managing to hold off the Quantum.
Did they win the last time we were here, or the time before that? They've got a pretty good track record in Puerto.
It was the time before that, because remember, it was just reminding us that the last time we were here was the Mast Down episode, and they were really were going super well in the circuit at that point. I think either first or second in the circuit.
Yeah.
They came in the first race. I think they were actually even leading, or certainly the top 2 or 3, and the mast came down, and they had to ship a replacement from Valencia super quick, but they lost 4 races back to back. And as we were saying, this is the new mast is only just recently caught up with the boat. But they have the newest rig in the fleet from Southern Spars, and they've shown some good speed with it.
Ah. They had a great bounce back day before yesterday. A tough race in the first one. I think they got up 9th and came straight back, and no shoulder, no heads down, straight into a race win. And that's what you got to do here. If you ever have a bad race, you just got to bounce back into it and keep heads high.
It's like we were talking about with Guiget, with the top pro drivers. You know, when the tussle, the battle is for the pin end of the line, you can ask, and it's up to the top driver like Cutler or like Guiget, or they can do the start pretty much in terms of the positioning and especially the speed build when you pull the pin and get off the line, and your lane, your angle to the pin is critical. But they did that nicely yesterday on the Provezza, and also Phoenix yesterday. I had 3 boats starting off the pin end of the line yesterday, winning 3 different boats, all winning off the pin. So here we go, looking at on board with Chio. So they're having a pretty good day all in all, Fergal.
Yeah, really, really good. I haven't actually been. Sadly, I haven't been really looking at the results, how they've been getting on in the previous days. But if today's anything to go by, I'm sure
I think they're
up
third at
there.
the moment, but I think they had a technical problem in the first day, from what I remember. I was talking to the boys this morning. But they're on the charge. And I think with the exception of Beaugest, I think they've had really, obviously because Beaugest is that much newer and more powerful and is racing out in the front of them. I think then generally they're having a pretty good racing, and it's the battles for second, third, fourth are pretty close.
Yeah, it goes to show that back in the days when DB was here and building these boats, he's built a good one, because it's still holding its own against the boats from 2018, 2015. There's a lot of newer boats out there that it's going toe to toe with. It's great, and great for Marco as well that he's doing that, and maybe give him a bit more oomph to build a new boat.
Exactly, or doing about building a new boat, but certainly he's not doing too much damage to the boat's second-hand value at the moment, is he?
Absolutely not.
Either, you know, when you come to... There's such a good second-hand market for these boats as well. It's great. It's one of the secrets of the longevity of the class in some respects, where owners are not taking a bath on their investment. The boats are so good under IRC, and they're pretty good offshore with a few little modifications.
Yeah, absolutely. When you see a boat,
in terms of value for money and bang for your buck.
There's probably not too many, seasoned race boats like Blue Carbon 2005 that are still going strong. So a testament to that boat's build and its maintenance over the years, that it's out here racing. It's 16 years old, which in boat terms is carbon boat terms fairly old.
Indeed, how's it looking then, Tor? I think Prevetsa catching Branasek very slightly. Quantum a little bit distance behind. But Branasek just really leading the fleet and keeping a loose cover, certainly in Quantum.
Yeah, well, interestingly, the boats are heading more right than they did in the last beat,
Yeah.
but it looks like Branasek are holding on strong, but Prevetsa looking good as well. I think it will be close between Prevetsa and Quantum coming into this ley line.
So the breeze appears to have gone right a little bit.
Looks that way.
I think we saw that on the run a little bit, the way that Prevetsa and Quantum, who went left earlier than Branasek, and they closed that gap to them pretty well. Apart from the Interlodge, who made good gains on the right. I think that early left paid off for Quantum and Prevetsa, and they can't forget that going into the next beat. So that was pretty strong out there. So I think all Branasek has to really do is keep a loose cover on the guys behind, and they know they've got a fast boat. So wouldn't be surprised if we see them attacking pretty quick on Prevetsa. I don't think they'll let them get too far to the left of them once they go behind.
Fortune teller.
Certainly not with the breeze going right, but they need to get across. But in the meantime, seems to be hanging in there, watching Quantum coming back at Prevetsa. Choosing to attack early. Interesting situation there, Fergal.
Yeah, I mean, we can't see from here how close they are to the ley line, but if they went much further, they can just go and sit in the gas of Prevetsa, which they'll be pretty close to them. They're only, for us, they're only 3 boat lengths behind. So there wouldn't be much point in going all the way to their line and then potentially overstanding. So attacking early.
They're by Branasek a little bit just now. But good racing all in all, and a good race between Interlodge and Chio. Close between them.
I think it's about as close to the phrase champagne sailing as you can get today.
Which you're not allowed to use in this programme.
Oh. Orange juice sailing.
Exactly. But yeah, it's fantastic conditions. You know, this is really when the powers that be came up with the vision for this Invitational regatta, then and chose Puerto Portals, and they're getting their just rewards just now. Provezza going across Quantum, or Quantum having tacked to come up to the towards ley line.
Yeah, I think Quantum are probably just getting hit a little bit by Brunello-Sec, just living where they were, so they had to get out of there quick, or they need to keep as close to the back of Provezza as they can to make any gains on them downwind.
Quantum's tack there.
Didn't really see a lot of interlodge up that beat, but we'll I don't know which side if they went into the because they did that kind of handbrake turn at the bottom, went off early left, and I haven't seen them come back yet, but they are just above the line of Quantum.
So Quantum just a little bit, or Quantum and Provezza up at ley line, Tor, or just a little bit under.
Well, I said this at the start of at the end of the second beat, that I thought that the boats weren't laying, but there looked to be a little bit of a righty coming into the top mark, so I'm not going to speak too soon this time. I think Brunello-Sec and Provezza could be there, but Quantum almost certainly on that ley line.
You do quite often get this little righty at the top of the course. And for sure in Brunello-Sec's position, and you might as well wait and see if it's there rather than tacking up to ley line and overstanding.
Yeah, they're in such a comfortable position there. They've got the leverage over the fleet there. They can do what they like. So, yeah, why go for two extra tacks early on? And you never know what's going to happen in the last 100 metres of the ley line. So they can afford to play it safe here. It's very unlikely that the right's going to get so strong that Provezza is going to sail round them and they have to do two tacks and they make up that 65 metres or so that they've got. That said, if the right is so strong, then they're going to pull themselves up to the ley line as well. They're not too far below it. These boats can go into a pretty nice high mode if they have to, if they think they're within touching distance of the ley line. And they can take a little knock on the boat speed, close up the wind angle and try and ease their way up to it, but certainly looks pretty calm from Vasco there.
He does, doesn't he? But it's interesting that...
I'm going to call it early. I think they're there.
Thank you very much. But I mean, it's interesting to reflect in a way that with Morgan steering today, for example, it's indicative of how much they want to win, whereas, as Gishi was pointing out, Andy Soriano taking a little bit of a rest, as he might, and Edo steering today. But Brunello-Sec obviously wanted to win this. He wanted to, whether Vlad might have taken the helm today on this race, but anyway.
I saw the wheels not well. They were literally coming off of Interlodge this morning, but they've also changed helmsmen today. The tiller's on there, and I believe that Chris Matthews is driving on there today, I think.
All right.
So as the points aren't going to the Super Series for this day, then it was a long day yesterday in the sun, and these are long days out here, so it's nice to
it's a long day in the studio, you can take don't mind me saying.
It's nice to take the break if you can, but
So Provetsa round in second behind the race leader Brunenosek. Quantum in third, I think, will take top honours for the day with a 1 and 3.
Interlodge had another, that was a really good beat up there for them. I probably just kept it clean, and looks like Gladiators come back into the mix a little bit more. I think they kind of banged that left.
The left-hand corner.
I think it was Tor said yesterday. When you're at the back and you're not going to pass people by just tacking out the middle, you kind of got to go ring the bell a little bit. So why not? It looks like a little bit of a dip coming up here to get past the back of the tie boat or sled. Sorry, be a pretty quick tacking behind there, trying not to foul the air is blue.
Or the air will be blue.
What is it?
No, I'm just saying if...
Oh. I thought I got the name wrong.
No, the air is blue, but the air will be blue if on board the Gladiator if you get the tack wrong. It was pretty close coming around this top mark.
Yeah, they've had to pinch up there just to get in. They had a pretty tight lay to get underneath sled, and now pinching up, slowing the boat down to weather them. But that's a good gain up there. So I think they took 3 boats from the bottom mark. But now try and get back into sled and not get rolled by the old Q8 boat from 2008. Is that right?
That's right. Frolic boat, isn't it?
Pass.
No, it is for sure. In them days, the fleet was 50-50.
I think there were some Reichel pews back in
there's
that
a few.
fleet.
Well, the Zero Emissions was the original USA 17.
Yeah, that boat's had a pretty good racing life. It was power play for a while. They came out and sailed with us here in the Super Series a few years ago. Brunenosek really have made a bit of a jump on Provetsa and Quantum. If the track is anything to believe, it's gone from 70-metre lead to a 200-metre lead. But now the rich are getting a little richer. But if this run turns out to be like the last one and that early left or bottom left goes well for Provetsa and they come in getting headed down to the line, then maybe we'll see that close up a little bit.
So we just run a little bit of history for the buffs, for the invited boats. We have Eras Blue, Roberto Monti, as Fergal was saying, the Euro Frolic design built in 2008 as Audi Q8. Arabas, which is the team with the orange shirts, was built originally as the 2009 Cam, and that was built from the Team New Zealand mould. And from memory, I don't think it did a lot of racing. I think that from memory, I think that Cam, of course, is Spanish Bank, didn't stay with that program for very long. And then Beaugest was built in Honda for the Brazilian owner in 2018. Blue Carbon, as we said, is Tony Guillau's boat. That was built originally in 2005 as Balearia. Chio is the 2011 Quantum Racing. And Zero Emission, the Finnish boat, was the Reichel Pew, which was built as Oracle and Fergal. It was built and only sailed one regatta. I don't know if you remember that in Marseille. They came and raced one regatta in Marseille. I think Larry Ellison was on board, but Jimmy Spithill raced it. They won the regatta.
And that was it.
And that was it. Boat
only
was
as good as your last regatta.
That was his one and only regatta in in the hands of the BMW Oracle team as it was then. And then I think it was sold to the Russian owners.
That's good. He left with a 100% record.
It was, yeah. Certainly didn't harm the value of the boat, but it's great to see it still racing and still going well.
So that tracker distance really closed up as Provetsa went around the back of Brunello there, went from 250 metres to 90 metres. So whether that's just a little tracker thing, or if they made a considerable gain, obviously the tracker's always going to give a bit more to the boat that went right, as Brunello did, and then as Provetsa come right, they close that gap. But I mean, they're still closing it as we speak. Kind of surprised that, I mean, Brunello isn't covering a little bit, or whether they're just so confident in the bottom left that they're just going to stick with Quantum. But we saw Interlodge gain out there where Provetsa's going in the first run. See what happens. Tracker's going to give us a lead change any second.
Yeah, Provetsa taking the lead. But still good conditions. Fergal, how's it looking down there, Tor?
I'm just at the bottom left of this run, which has been paying in on other runs, and both Brunello and Quantum are looking like to be coming down in a little puff here. So Provetsa might have just gotten a nice little shift on the right hand side, but they've got some good pressure here on the left.
Yeah, since Provetsa jibe back, obviously the axis of the tracker will put Brunello in front. I think we'll see it back to that kind of 80-90 metre lead when they actually go cross in front. But maybe a small gain from Provetsa out there. Maybe there's a little more breeze. They look bow down, which is nice for them. And they're kind of holding axis there. We see from their dotted line since they jibed, they've been coming down, down, down. But I think it's still fairly comfortable from Brunello. They're just doing a good bit of fleet management of both Provetsa and Quantum. If anything, a little gain to Quantum there on Provetsa. Provetsa I don't think they're quite far enough forward to put any hurt on Brunello from there. They're probably just solidifying their position with Quantum and making sure Quantum don't split away from them.
So Tor, how far have we got to go in this second run of the second race?
Not too far to go, probably about half a mile. So it looks like Brunello won't be far off the ley line, and it's a little bit of procession behind them. They'll be waiting for Brunello to jibe before they go. So I think Brunello might have this one in the bag, but it's definitely not as convincing as it has been in other races.
Just beautiful conditions from that shot. Getting to see, I think, pretty much the whole fleet. There might be a couple of boats to the right of the camera there, but yeah, this is Bay of Palma putting on a pretty nice day of sailing. Yeah.
So if we could have this for the final day of the 52 Super Series sailing, Puerto sailing week tomorrow, and more racing for the 20th anniversary Invitational. To say, going back tomorrow to race for points. The regatta finishes tomorrow, I think, with 2 races, with 8 races for the series scheduled. If we had these conditions tomorrow, I think we'd be delighted. And if we had 2 wins for the Gladiator tomorrow, I think that would keep Fergal happy.
Keep me happy. Yeah, I'll be pretty happy with that. I'll play it down. I'll play it cool.
And a nice suntan on the chase boat too.
Good for you. So it's win-win, and what about me? But
Poor Andy.
I know it's a hard life. But anyway, things looking still pretty good for Brunello, leading by 100 or so metres ahead of Prevezza and Quantum Racing. Interlodge in 4th. I think that the Interlodge team will be happy with the 4th, all things considered.
I think Chio will be pretty happy with their day.
With their day, all in all.
A 3 and a 5. They got 3rd in the first race, is that right?
That's right.
A 3 and a 5 in a fleet of 14 boats.
They should probably come away with 2nd overall, I would think. I'm assuming that there's an aggregate for the 2 races, but maybe 2 trophies. You never quite know.
And you got to remember, if we look, looking at the tracker here, there is still an IRC handicap. I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but I think the 2018 boats owe time to Chio by about 20 or 30 seconds. So if they're still pretty close to Interlodge at the end, within that 30 seconds, they get bumped up again. So it's not like the normal one design racing we're doing out here. It's you've got to fight for every second. So they're not going to be giving up, saying, "Oh, well done, guys, we came in 5th." They're going to be fighting all the way to the end and trying to steal a 4th off of Interlodge if this is how it goes. The track has got Interlodge 200 metres ahead, so might have to get the hammer on a little
30
bit.
30 seconds in a race.
Oh, not a bad guess, was it?
Yeah, that's pretty close. You're in the wrong job. Rob Wieland, your job's under threat. But 30 seconds in a race for Chio against the class TP52s. I don't think that's going to be enough to get them past Quantum. Maybe. Anyway, we'll soon find out. Nice jive from the Brunello team.
Yeah, that's that same old, just loose cover there. They don't need to do any. They don't need to go any further. They want to stick with these guys, make sure they don't find any advantage in that last section of the race. You see Prevezza, putting the hammer down a little bit here, maybe sailing a little higher to try and get on. I don't think they'll get to it. Unfortunately, they need to be going about a knot faster to get to Brunello air, and Brunello just need to sail the same angle and not let them gain any advantage.
Exactly, not come up to them.
So
every bit distance that they come up to them is distance lost just now, unless they feel that Quantum will come in, that Prevezza will sail onto them. But
you never know, we might see them get into a luffing match again. They might just come up and have a go. We've seen
you
it.
say that on the basis of having seen a few luffing matches initiated by Brunello over the course of this regatta so far, so it's a fair bet, but instead jibing for the finish line tour. Or just cruising through the line.
Yes, and Quantum just tried to go make a little gain in the bottom left there, but actually just lost a little bit to Prevezza, who are coming in strong in 2nd here as well.
So the win is with Brunello, Prevezza getting 2nd.
Let's get the stopwatches on to see if Chio are going to catch Quantum.
Yes, we're almost. You'd say they're going to get Interlodge here, but 30 seconds is not long.
Fergal, you're on the job.
I'm on the time.
That was the toot.
It's going to be pretty close. Interlodge might ruin it for them here by driving onto
Interlodge
start
might
in
just be
front.
helping them out. Yeah.
10 more seconds to go. And they could get to him.
It's not going to be much in it, is there?
Unfortunately
no,
not.
Quantum
But
are okay.
they'll. You should see the IRC handicap come into play here for Chio to bounce up one. I think they'll
be close enough to Interlodge, won't they?
Pretty sure they'll be close enough, but
so anyway, Interlodge for fourth. Chio get fifth / fourth on corrected time.
I'd be very surprised if Chio don't get to fourth from there. But
a pretty solid day for Chio then. I'm sure that Marco Serafini and his Italian team might have a couple of extra beers this evening on that account. But all credit to Vasco and the guys on board Brunasek. I say it doesn't count for points, but it's still a win in any language.
I think we'll
and a little bit of a close finish coming up, Tor. And the Gladiator's going to come out on top of this. One of you call it for me.
Yes.
Nah.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be Gladiator, actually. The two invitational boats have just soap dished them. I think that's what you'd say.
And then, those two invitational boats, Air is Blue and Thai 72, they might be quick enough to, well, they definitely have got the IRC on, well, they beat Gladiator on the water, but I think they might be close enough to sled to when it gets to, there you go, there's the times, I don't know what the time is back to Air is Blue, but I think they get about a minute on the 2018 boats. So we could be close to seeing Air is Blue up to sixth, maybe, and Thai 72. I don't. Yeah, it's a 2015
there's very little.
boat.
It's just a few seconds in that
so
count.
It would be nice for the 2015 sled to beat the 2018 sled, but the beauty of IRC, right? Just got to keep racing for that every second. Air is Blue nearly 2 minutes. Air is Blue could be up into
fourth.
Air is Blue could be into second here. I don't know how they go on Chio. Chio owes them a minute and 10 seconds. So Air is Blue could be third or fourth here.
So that's what it's all about anyway. Gladiators are getting ninth on the water, 0 emissions.
Yeah, I think we'll see Gladiator get bumped down to 10th, 0 emission.
Up to 9th.
Is owed 1 minute and 20. Arabas is owed even more. I think unfortunately we'll see Arabas and 0. Well, not unfortunately. Fortunately for them, we'll see 0 emission Arabas potentially jump above sled and Interlodge as well. So
it's very exciting.
Just have to wait for the corrected time.
Well, we're not sure we're going to see them immediately, but Tor, great racing today. Fantastic to see the big fleet on the water, and 2 different race winners, one conclusively to a Quantum Racing, one to Brunasek. But a great day's racing, Tor.
Yes, so good to see all these boats out on the Bay of Palma today, and we attracted some more attention with quite a few spectators coming in to watch. There's quite a lot of boats up at the top mark, so yeah, great spectacle on the bay today, and looking forward to the last day tomorrow. Those days have gone quickly.
They have. Indeed. Thank you very much, Tor. And let's have a look at the actual replay. Fergal, you're going to talk us through this one, but it's a pretty good solid start from Brunasek off the line. Let's look at the replay.
Yeah, we see a really solid start from Quantum and Sled in the middle to committee boat end, and Provetsa and Brunasek. So the top 3 boats got the top 3 starts. We've said it so often that you win the start and you're likely to go on and win the race because you're just allowed to go and sail your own. Brunello did a nice job of going left. The early right that we all thought was going to pay, the banana, as Guiget put it, didn't pay as much as we saw in the first race. And Brunello just went out, a couple of attacks, hammer down. But I think Provezza and Brunello kind of won the starts. Quantum and Sled a little more conservative. And and then from Gazprom from then it was just hammer down, loose covers, and don't do anything silly. Don't go out and make any risks. And Vasco got that win he wanted.
Indeed, Vladimir Lobomorov looking pretty happy coming through the finish line. But it's all going on. There was places changing here and there. Looking at the sled, not such a good race for them. As you said, perhaps being taken by the old sled on corrected time. But such are the virtues and the variables of racing on handicap, and one of the reasons that we all love real-time racing. First past the post wins in the 52 Super Series, and the origins of this class were really as much because IMS 50 racing on handicap was becoming so expensive, and they're actually slowing the boats to try and beat the handicap. So that's why we're real-time racing and looking at Brunello coming around the leeward gate, choosing that left mark with Provezza pushing hard.
You really saw how favoured that mark was for all three boats to go round within a couple of boat lengths of each other. They all knew that that's where they wanted to go, and you can see the distance from all of them coming in on that lay line down to the other mark. It was a no-brainer for all three of them.
So great images of the boats coming upwind, top mark. Brunello have had it all their own way, albeit pressed hard by Provezza and to a lesser degree Quantum. And no room for error.
And interestingly, we saw, unlike the normal Super Series racing, we didn't see any changes in the top floor throughout the entire race. I think we saw an early lead to Quantum, but after the first mark, it's been Gazprom, Brunello Provezza, Quantum, Interlodge all the way around. And great win in the biggest fleet we've had since 10 plus years.
Indeed, great fleet, great racing, but it's very, very much a one-off. And Ferger, we're back in business tomorrow, returning to the final day of the 52 Super Series Puerto Portal Sailing Week, and sled going on the water with a 1-point lead. What are your thoughts about tomorrow? It's going to be great racing.
Oh, great race. If it's going to be the same as today with some nice breeze in the morning just to get two races off, and all to play for with only a 1-point lead. And
let's have a look at the standings if we can, chaps. Indeed, so there we go. Sled, as we said, leading by 1 point. Quantum Racing 23 points just behind. Phoenix 26 points, a little bit unsettled perhaps by today, but let's see tomorrow. Provezza 27, Allegra 27, 28 points for Platoon, Brunello 30, 37 for Interlodge, and Gladiator on 50 points. So all to play for tomorrow. We should go for 2 races as ever. I think we have a time limit on the final day, but really certainly the podium is very much open, and that middle section of the fleet, there's only a point in it here and there. We're looking forward to a great day tomorrow, aren't we?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, any 2 race day, 9 boats, there's 18 points on the table, so it's all pretty compressed in the middle, and look forward to some really, really good racing.
Good, so we're looking forward to racing tomorrow here, the final day of the 52 Super Series Puerto Portal Sailing Week. Join us, we go live 15 minutes before racing, usually about 1:45 local time. We'll see you then.